Okay. Welcome, one and all. Hope everyone can hear me. I hope everyone can see us. We're still waiting on a couple guests, but it is 6 o'clock, and I like to start on time when I can. And we have a small tidbit, a small announcement I got to do before we start. So even if we're a little early, you guys who are here on time get the announcement, right? So it'll be fun. It'll be great. So tonight's topic is going to be, is the media sanewashing Trump? And by that, do some in the media try to kind of run cover for Trump, make his points, translate them into something more reasonable in order to create a horse race or an illusion of a horse race? That's a question that's been posed by some, and many think that the media is doing this. Others think it's bullshit. We'll get into it as we go. But before we do that, I do want to let you guys know, once again, I am paid by Progressive Victory. And one of the things that they are asking me to do, which I have agreed to do because I believe in it, right, is we have some phone banking that we're hosting that's coming up, okay? A lot of different slots. And as we get closer to the election, this kind of ground activism, this on-the-ground stuff that you can do is going to actually drive engagement and help us win. I'm going to be providing a link in the chats, and I have a link in my YouTube description to the various phone banking opportunities that you, yes, you, dear viewer, can get to. One of the opportunities we have is for the representative race of Mary Peltola in Alaska, who's running for an Alaskan seat. She's going to need some help, right? She's a Democrat in Alaska, and it's really important that we win this seat. So let me give you guys the phone banking if you feel like it, right? If you want to, you just click these links. You can go. You don't need training. They'll train you, right? You just need to sign up and show up. And easy peasy. It's something that if you want to actually put your words into practice, if you're a progressive or a Democrat and you watch my stuff and you're like, they talk all the time, big talk, little action, right? This is a chance to actually do something, get action. Okay, shilling done. Now that Lactoid's here, we can have the fun little stream. Is the media sanewashing Trump? We're going to start with Vigilante, and we're just going to go around. Vigilante, is the media sanewashing Trump? Yes or no?
Yeah, I absolutely believe the media is making Trump look more sane than he is. He's a politician and a businessman who has a long history of spreading conspiracy theories. He's perpetuated the birther theories about Obama, claims of election fraud starting from 2012, claims that Obama supported and founded ISIS, claims that Obama staged the bin Laden death. He perpetuated the Pizzagate scandal, perpetuated that the Epstein death was conducted by the Clintons, that the Clintons murder anyone who goes against them, that he perpetuated that he won the popular vote in 2016, and that the facts showing that he didn't are fraud. He claims that global warming was created by the Chinese to stop manufacturing here in the U.S. He claims that the election in 2020 was stolen. Most importantly, he claims that COVID deaths have been greatly exaggerated. He perpetuated anti-vax claims like the idea that vaccines cause autism. And this is just a small fraction of the conspiracy theories that Donald Trump has pushed. Yet the media pretends that these things are just normal when he spouts these lies. And left-wing media ignores them or just debunks them and moves on. Right-wing media pushes it like it's fact, which this stuff unfortunately sets a dangerous precedent going forward, normalizing conspiracy theories.
Okay, thank you, and we'll get into it as we go. Lactoid, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I just think like empirically, whether or not you think what Trump says is crazy or not crazy, I think it's empirically true that the media is incredibly unfriendly to Trump and isn't aimed at making him look sane or good, really in any which way. In his first term, at the beginning of his first term, there was a Harvard study on this, and it's true. The press on Trump has been significantly more negative than Obama, than Bush, than Clinton. For in 2017, up until 2017, the press for Clinton and Bush was about 28% positive both, or sorry, 28% negative both. Obama was only 20% negative, but 62% negative for Donald Trump. It was 27% positive for Clinton. It was 22% positive for Bush. It was 42% positive for Obama. So Obama was 42% positive and 20% negative. For Donald Trump, it was 62% negative and 5% positive. And so, okay, well, his first term absolutely was the case that the media was stacked against him. Let's look at what about next? What happened afterwards? Well, immediately following his assassination attempt, 95% of the coverage of Trump on ABC, CBS, NBC was all negative. Following his debate with Kamala, 84% of press coverage for her was positive, while 89% of the press coverage on Trump was negative. So you couldn't ask for like a more split arrangement when it comes to who the media treats, better or worse. They are overwhelmingly treating Kamala Harris positively, just like they overwhelmingly treated Obama positively, and they are overwhelmingly shitting on Donald Trump, just as they have essentially from the beginning. So this idea of the media in any meaningful way is sanewashing Trump or trying to make him look good. It's just not borne out in the empirics, right? The empirics demonstrate the media is overwhelmingly against Donald Trump. So I think I would just have to say that no, they're not sanewashing him. They can't find a time in which they're not just trying to shit on him. So and call him crazy. So.
Okay, well, thank you for being here. We already have some very different positions. We'll get into it in the open. GenericPlayz, first time guest on my show. How you doing, buddy? Ooh, wonderful.
True.
Great. We
Based.
can't hear you at all. Deal with that. Katusha, what do you got for us?
Okay, so I absolutely think that Trump is being sanewashed in the media. And I think that this boils down to basically an idea among Republicans and like among Trump supporters that Trump is allowed to give a different input to the media while getting the same output as candidates who are clearly a lot less insane. It's kind of odd how they think that, if Trump puts in craziness and puts in, committing crimes and like the stuff that he's done in his rhetoric and how he says stuff like how New York State is already a third world country and like how doctors are already prescribing medication that is laced with fentanyl. I'm sorry, I'm so tired. Oh my God. And then asking, if there are any gang members in his audience at his rallies. He says stuff like that, and we expect the same like positivity and coverage as we get with Kamala, who's actually trying to be serious here. I mean, like, you get out what you put in, basically. That's my point. It's like, yeah, they do try to even out the score for the sake of the horse race, for the sake of everything else, and kind of act like they're both on the same even playing field. Yet every single thing that's different is supposed to be some unequal situation that is favored against him.
Okay, well, thank you for being here, and I appreciate you. Generic, are you there yet?
Can you hear me now?
You're super low, but kind of.
Let me see if I can fix that.
While he's fixing it, let's go to Gibbs.
Yeah, so I find it funny that we're sitting here talking about sanewashing Trump. I would argue that some of the news agencies have sanewashed Trump, and that's because he is sane. He's saying things that are correct. He's saying things that people want to hear. We were just heard about the conspiracies. It's amazing the body count around the Clintons. That's not a conspiracy. We know that people around the Clintons just die like flies. They got a higher body count than Jeffrey Dahmer. We know that he was right with the Pizzagate stuff. Guess what? Epstein came out. Now we got Diddy, and then Epstein dies. I don't know. Sounds like maybe there's smoke, there's fire kind of situation. Trump is the first guy, in the words of Dave Chappelle, that came in out of the house and said, hey, everything you think they're doing in that house, they're doing. And I know this because I'm doing it too. And then walk back in there. He's been telling the American people the truth. And that's not insanity. It's not insanity. And it's funny that this is the new narrative being pushed, that now he's being sanewashed, because it's really clearly a pathetic attempt by the dishonest Dems to sit here and go, oh, we lied to y'all with old decrepit Biden, the Crypt Keeper, and now we're going to have to sit here and lie and try to make it look like Trump is crazy, when he's clearly not.
Okay. Generic, third time's the charm.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Fantastic. Sorry. New headphones, and I was trying to figure out a way for you to hear me and not hear the puppies playing in the background.
It's okay. What do you got for us?
Well, hi, everyone. First time being here. I'd like to say it's pretty obvious Trump is being sanewashed by the media. For some outlets, that is clearly intentional. For others, it is them trying to be fair, and for others, it's all about the money. You can see this by the way outlets. Sorry, nerves. You can see this by the way some outlets will pluck a line or two from one of his rambling speeches to create a semi-coherent quote or headline. You can also see this from the way that they will hyperfixate on Harris's issues, mistakes, or perceived blunders. I'm going to stop talking now.
Okay. Keep messing with it. You're still a little low, right? But as we go, just crank it as up as you can, okay? And then we'll go. But with that, floor's open. I guess the first question I would have and this is to the people who think that Trump is being sanewashed. So Vigilante, Katusha, and Generic. How should the media be covering Trump, in your opinion? If the way that they are doing it currently is sanewashing him, what should they be doing instead that they are currently not? Go ahead.
I think that they shouldn't be using as many selective quotes as they do, because a lot of the time they do kind of pick and choose, the best of the best from a lot of his rallies, as well as exclude, a lot of the stuff that he says that is just plain, out the window. As well as like some stuff where it seems like even like fact checkers and stuff have kind of dropped the ball in situations where, even if the overall premise of what he says is not true, just because some fact within it is true, they're like, yep, this is okay. When it's like the whole thing it's about is just like crazy, or his examples that he's using are crazy. I digress, but like it's just kind of like that kind of thing.
Okay. Do you have a same answer, different answer, Vigilante?
So I would say that, like, outside of just straight up fact checking him, I would say they need to press more on, how do I put this? I would say they need to press more on the insane things that he actually says. I don't think just fact checking him is enough. I think they need to actually display how insane some of the stuff that he says is. And like actually show how wrong he is.
Okay. Fair. Yeah, open discussion though. Go ahead.
Let me respond to some of the things that have been said here.
Please.
Can you hear me
So
you're still
yeah,
very low, Generic.
you're still
Again,
quiet. We can hear you.
Keep
1
going.
second.
Up.
So first of all, just to be clear, I brought empirics to the table, which is that overwhelmingly, consistently over time, the press coverage of Donald Trump has been overwhelmingly negative compared to other presidents. You can say, well, that's because he's worse than other presidents. That can be your opinion. But it's undoubtedly true that the empirical data demonstrates the media is overwhelmingly against Donald Trump. They are not trying to paint him as a sane person. They're trying to paint him as a crazy. We're talking about, well, the media should do better at not using selective quotes. But we have a history of the media using selective quotes against Donald Trump, right? We have the media saying that Donald Trump called Nazis very fine people. That's been pushed not only by the mainstream media, it's been pushed by both Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. And yet, only recently did Snopes have the gall to fact check that and say, actually, no, it was false. So despite the media raving about that for how many years, that turned out to be entirely false because they selectively used one of Trump's quotes against him. The fact checkers being also dropping the ball, that allegation, during the debate, only Trump was fact-checked. Kamala Harris wasn't fact-checked a single time. And she wasn't fact-checked on one of the claims that she made, referencing back that Donald Trump called Nazis very fine people. So we have the media not fact-checking the candidate who is repeating the lies put forward by the media. It's a vicious cycle. And so those are, I guess, anecdotal examples I can point to, but I don't really need to, because the empirics demonstrate that the media has been overwhelmingly against Donald Trump from the beginning.
Okay, so
Well,
you can say that she hold on. So you could say that she wasn't fact-checked live, but you can't say that she wasn't fact-checked in general. The majority of people don't actually watch the debate. The majority of people follow what the news cycle during the debate. And in the actual news article, like live following the important parts of the debate, she was actually fact-checked multiple times. And actually the very first fact-check from that article was a fact-check on her.
I assure you that there are more people who listen to the debate than go through and read the fact checks of the debate. I don't have a study for that, but that absolutely is something that I bet on. When you have the moderators of that debate essentially arguing with Trump, and they're not pushing back at all when Kamala Harris says absolutely like crazy things like he's going to monitor everyone's pregnancy, or he called Nazis very fine people, no pushback whatsoever. But this is like not an example of the media like openly fact checking during a debate.
In addition to that,
actually,
hold on, Vigilante. In addition to that, whenever they do say something factual, like Trump said during the debate about trans illegal immigrant prisoners getting surgeries, that ended up being true. And Kamala was like, "Oh, I don't know what he's talking about," even though she gave a speech.
True that she made an answer on a survey. Okay,
no, it was not just a survey.
It was an ACLU survey that was sent to her in 2019.
Wow, it was an ACLU
she gave a speech on it at the
end. And she has never walked it back.
And she's never walked it back. It's crazy. That is insanity. That is literally
where is this ever happened? Where is this policy ever been proposed to happen?
Literally something
Kamala Harris hasn't been president yet.
Advocated for this.
Is that
I mean, everybody says that she's going to go on the same policy as Joe Biden. I mean, if they're going to do the same thing, then where's my illegal trans alien policy that's going to go on?
Joe Biden didn't propose that. Hold on. I don't think that she's going to go do everything that Joe. Right. I don't think that Kamala Harris is going to do everything that Joe Biden says. I think that Kamala Harris is in a lot of ways significantly worse than Joe Biden and proposes things that are much more extreme. She did in 2019 to the ACLU say that she was going to give illegal immigrants detained free gender surgery. Now, when Trump said that, people, it was so like crazy that people thought that Trump was being crazy because, they're so used to not sanewashing him, to making him look crazy, but he was actually right. And by the way, the fact checks on that, they fact checked, some of the fact checking websites actually fact check him and say, oh, this is not true. And then they had to go back and say, well, actually, hold on a minute, it actually was true. Sorry. So, and then we see this consistently, like the trigger impulse is he's crazy, he's wrong. And then information comes out that he's not crazy and wrong. Oh, I guess he wasn't crazy and wrong. This happened about Charlottesville, and this happened about the trans thing too.
Well,
let's think about this insanity.
Hold on. Let's let Katusha go. Then Generic's trying to get in, and I think we can hear him now. And
can
so, you? Yes, much better. And then, so Katusha, Generic, then Gibbs. That's the order we're going to go in. Cool. Katusha, Generic, Gibbs. Go ahead.
This brings me to another point that I wanted to bring up. The idea that it seems like Donald Trump can change his positions on a dime, yet if she has a different position or, doesn't own up to everything that she said in 2019, in 2018, in 2020, there's some big problems, some big disconnect. Yet, for example, Donald Trump said that he supported Florida's Amendment 4 for abortion rights, and then 24 hours later said that 6 weeks was enough and he did not support it.
So I'll have to hold on. I'll have to go and look at that specifically. But you understand the difference here, right? Even if that is true, which I don't know if that's true or not, but even if that is true, if Kamala Harris tomorrow said, actually, that whole trans surgeries for illegal immigrants thing, I said that in 2019, that was a mistake. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do that. Okay, now we're getting somewhere, right? I understand changing positions in light of popular sentiment or overall just philosophy shift, whatever, right? If she wants to be a more moderate president. But at no point has she walked this back. And the last primary that she ran in, because she was anointed this time around, she didn't actually run in a primary. The last primary she ran in, she said to the ACLU, yes, I will support free gender surgeries for illegal inmates. And again, the question is not whether, I think it's undoubtable that she said this and that, she hasn't walked it back. But the question is, why did people think that Trump was crazy when he said that? Why was everybody's initial knee-jerk reaction to say, well, Trump's obviously crazy? Well, it's because the media has been like programmed us to think through
Are you
overwhelmingly
sure it's
negative
the
coverage.
media
Just real
or
quick,
it's not the
question,
thing
a
that he
factual
says?
question,
The things that he says.
because I don't remember, and maybe you do. Did he say the translegal surgeries before or after he said the eating the cats and dogs thing?
I don't know if it was before or after.
Okay.
The cats and dogs thing, by the way, was from what we know not true, and the media has not shut up about how that's not true. Weird how again one candidate is like their crazy sentiments are being held against them.
But you asked, why are people thinking whatever he says is a lie? It's because it's a coin toss whether or not it's a lie.
Well,
Also-
no, but no, hold on. Again, you have one candidate who's saying things like he supports Project 2025, which he never has, and he's going to monitor women's pregnancy to make sure they don't get an abortion, which there's never been that proposal. And he called white supremacists very fine people, which turned out to be fake. We have one candidate doing that, and of course, when they're never getting fact checked, at least not getting fact checked like in a public manner, or the media is not going to be as unfavorable to them, people generally get like the sense, oh, this is the classroom good girl, and Trump is the classroom bad boy. And then it sort of biases their image. It colors their glasses, and now they're going to be like, well, of course we can't trust Trump. And even if you think Trump is less trustworthy, that's not the question of this debate. The question of this debate is the media sanewashing him, which they're not empirically.
Generic, go ahead.
Okay, couple things. First, to what the media can do to correct this, I think they should just stop trying to translate. We don't need a Trump translator. Just let his quotes speak for themselves. His long, rambling quote at the Economic Forum in response to, I believe, making it lower for parents to raise children was the best answer I've ever heard. That was a phenomenal 3 minutes, and we have gotten a lot of memes from it. I love it. Should do more of that. That's what the media should do. Second, the verifying people thing was not a hoax, as people have been calling it. In the Snopes article, everyone references it. Even there is an editor's note that says, some readers have raised the objection that this fact check appears to assume Trump was correct in stating there were verifying people on both sides of the Charlottesville incident. That is not the case. The fact check aimed to confirm what Trump actually said, not whether what he said was true or false. For the record, every source that covered the Unite the Right debacle, that it was conceived of, led by, attended by white supremacists, and that therefore Trump's characterization was wrong. There were not very fine people on both sides. Nazis are not very fine people. You cannot base this entire dismissal off some imaginary person you do not know is there.
Wait, just to clarify, and I've talked about this discussion, I've talked about this at length. If the media and Kamala and Joe Biden were simply saying, oh, Donald Trump happened to be factually mistaken when he said there was fine people on both sides, he was actually factually incorrect on that, because obviously we know that he doesn't support Nazis. So, haha, Trump, you were just wrong on that. If that's what they were saying, whatever. There's an argument there. Now, there were non-Nazis there, like the New York Lightfoot militia. They were there.
You have no confirmation of that. We do have confirmation that there were Nazis there.
But there were Nazis there for sure. Now, but again,
we do not know if there were not Nazis there.
No, we do know for a fact. The New York Lightfoot militia, you can look them up. They were absolutely there, and they're absolutely not Nazis. Their entire leadership chain condemned Nazis. They were not there to support any kind of white supremacist cause.
They were marching beside Nazis.
They were. Yes, they were. Again, they weren't the Nazis, though. So perhaps giving Trump the most credibility, charitability, maybe he was referencing them. But even if he was completely wrong, even if for some reason the Lightfoot militia didn't exist, which they did, but let's say they didn't, at most you could say that Donald Trump was wrong. But that's not the claim the media has been making, and that's not the claim that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have been making. They've been saying he called Nazis.
The media's been claiming that they said there were very fine people on both sides.
Referencing Nazis. Both the candidates have said referencing Nazis, and the media has said this too. This is the quote-unquote sanewashing we get.
To be fair, we don't know if he was referencing Nazis or not, because if they were
we do know.
Non-Nazis on both sides, and he just said,
Hold on, please,
like
one last thing. I know, but we have somebody who hasn't heard about this. Because you should read this Snopes article. Because one paragraph after he said the very fine people, do you know what he says? He says in the same speech, I'm not referring to the Nazis or the white supremacists. They should be condemned totally.
oh crap, a politician trying to cover the tracks after saying something stupid.
Oh, here, how convenient that the guy who's denied and lied this whole time since being here, the dishonest Dem, would sit here and go, how convenient
He
that the
initially
politician.
said it as a fucking tweet.
No, y'all have been dishonest and straight up. That's why I've been calling y'all the DDs for a while now. It's outrageous that you're gonna sit
He
here and go,
initially said
oh
it as a
look,
tweet, not on the speech.
y'all are
The
gonna sit
speech
here and
happened
say how
significantly
insane
later.
Trump is.
You're
How insane
coping.
Trump is. Whenever
Cope.
we
Cope.
literally just in this
Cope.
own thing,
Cope.
just in our
Cope.
own openings,
Cope.
we talked about
Cope.
how
Cope.
Kamala
Okay,
has,
we don't
was
need the Cope
advocating
stuff,
for a
right? We get it.
policy that was going to be transgender surgeries for illegal alien prisoners.
So do you
That is
understand
insanity.
why?
No, hold on.
Do you understand
I
why?
want you to
There's the
hold on.
insanity
I've been
coverage on
waiting.
that.
Listen,
I can
there's
explain it to
zero
you.
coverage on that. That's insanity that anybody's tax dollars should go to that. And then y'all gonna go, oh, when there were reports of people eating cats and dogs, whether or not they either be true or not or confirmed reports, oh, it's so insane for someone to be sitting here trying to stick up for their constituency. I'm sorry that Trump was trying to look out for the American people while the Dems, like, I don't know what this guy's name is because he's got it blocked, but are the Dems just sitting here lying, hiding their faces, and sitting here trying to say that he's insane when he's telling the American people what the American people need to hear and want to hear. It's crazy. You know what? We usually have a word for this in dating. It's called gaslighting. That's what they're doing. The Democrats are gaslighting the American public until they get, just believe anything.
Gaslighting is when you sit here and say fucking lies to fucking
you're trying
get people to do. No, gaslighting is when you sit here and say lies to get people to do what you want. Literally, gaslighting is sitting here and saying things like the Haitian immigrants are eating dogs to get people to hate immigrants. That is literally gaslighting, you dumbass.
Katusha's been trying to get in for a little, so we're gonna give the ball to her. I'm sure you guys will respond to whatever she says. So yeah.
One thing I'm gonna say about the whole like transgender operations on illegal aliens thing, that question, I honestly don't see it as that insane of an answer because I don't see how she could have answered no without implying other things that would not be the best to imply. Okay, so if we answered no, we're either implying that people who are in prison do not deserve any necessary health care, or they can be denied
necessary health care,
or
it's not health care.
Or that it's not necessary, or it's not health care, which I understand. Obviously, we don't want to make that implication. So in that case, in that catch-22, I mean, like she's got to pretty much say that. So
yes.
I don't think it's an insane answer.
Wait, Gibbs. She's absolutely correct. This is why she can't roll back the answer. Because if she does roll back the answer, she's absolutely correct that there is an implication on one of those two. And either they don't deserve health care, which she can't come out and say, or trans surgeries are not health care, which she also can't come out and say. So she is locked into this position where she has to support federally funded surgery or making the states do it, gender surgeries for illegal immigrant trans inmates. Like she has to, which is when Donald Trump points that out, like, hey, this candidate here is obviously like crazy, which I think that a lot of Americans would agree that's a pretty insane position, but yet the media isn't covering that. Where is the media like destroying her on that?
Implicated answer or the most insane implicated example, that doesn't mean that the entire argument is insane. How many people do you really think who are illegal immigrants in prison are going to get like trans surgery in jail? Like, has there even been transgender? Why?
They should ask her. They should ask her.
That is insanity, right? Like this is actually actually brings up a very good point here, right? The reason why she can't back down, all that's a good point. But what's really scary about that is that this is actually mainstream policies that the dishonest Dems are trying to push and sit here and back their way out of, and they want to push these policies. And it's insanity. It's literal insanity.
Gibbs.
Why would anybody's tax dollars should go to that?
Gibbs, do you
I just don't think they will.
If I may, just to because I'm not sure your position now here. If an inmate needs dental surgery, do you think they should be able to get that?
Are you asking me?
Yes, a prisoner.
If they need dental surgery?
Yeah, they need dental surgery of some sort. Do you think that the inmate should be
sure? They should get a basic health care to keep them alive.
Sure. So you're okay with some health care going to immigrants, correct?
Yeah, it's basic like healthcare, not wasting tax dollars on optional
Well, that would be
transgender
the
surgeries.
that would be the question.
Kamala
right?
can't call it optional.
It is optional, and first of all, like
Well,
even
I
if
know
it
you
wasn't-
can say
hold on.
that, but
Well,
she can't
like-
say that.
Well, so okay, do they give out like this is just insane. If they were going to go and say do something like, I don't know, hey, any woman that's in prison that wants to get a boob job and a tummy tuck, I would also be against that. I mean,
But they would
Gender
say is
dysphoria
if there was
a bit stronger than-
if there was
Here,
sufficient body dysmorphia, the people here in this panel would probably say that the government should pay for
and
that.
they should pay for that. We should pay to make it look like
Should-
It was
animal finesse.
psychological
Should-
evidence.
Should
Psychological evidence. You know, prison's psychologically bad, guys. That's what the whole point of prison is. It's supposed to suck. Not go in there and get your boobs
should
done.
people in prison have access to therapy?
Like what kind of therapy?
Just
Like to talk to a
therapy,
Therapy.
talk therapy, like
Whatever
be able to
therapy
talk
they
to a
need.
therapist.
I mean, what if the therapy they need is just like, get double tapped in the back of the head? I mean, we're keeping too many child predators alive anyway. Like, I mean, what are you're sitting here
So
doing?
not
Like, you're
everybody who's
the ones
in
over here
prison.
advocating for like having child diddlers getting therapy and shit. Like, what do you think those kids
No.
need therapy after they got diddled? Like, or should we punish the people that did that too? Or should we give those guys some tissues and a box
think-
of Kleenex?
I think
And maybe
pedophiles
let
should get the
them
death
out?
penalty.
You can
How
walk and
terrible
check
was
on
Hold
it
on,
sometime.
Gibbs. I have literally argued on Wick's panel that pedophiles should get the death penalty
I
in
don't
the
know.
past.
I mean, now it sounds like you over here wanting to go over
Let's
there
rein
and
it
give them free
in, gang. This
blowjobs.
isn't, to be clear, this isn't very fine people on both sides debate, nor is this a death penalty debate. This is a debate on whether or not the media is sane-washing Trump. How is the media treating Trump in a way that is
Yeah.
different than other candidates, if that's happening? And is
I-
that good or is that bad? Should we
I think
do
we
it
should
more?
sane-wash this
Should
Maybe
we
it's
do
not
it
as much
less?
sane washing, it's a
I-
lack of insane washing.
I can kind of bring us.
Nobody's
Yeah,
calling the dudes
I
out on
can
insanity.
I can kind of bring us back on this because, like, the point with the gender surgeries point is, you could have we could have a philosophical argument as to whether or not Kamala Harris happens to be right or not. But the reality is that, and I haven't seen the surveys on this, but my guess is that most Americans probably think this is crazy. If I had to guess, I think most Americans probably put this either on par or worse than the eating dogs comment, frankly,
Mhm.
right?
Wait,
But
think
yet,
they're
but
retarded.
yet, I don't think so actually.
Wait.
I think
Well, one can be
I think it
provably
is
wrong.
crazy.
The other one is a philosophical thing, but one is proven
Yeah,
incorrect.
but there was
Yeah,
evidence
sure.
at the time that it could have been true.
Well,
so
well,
you're
well,
acting
well,
like this is
sure.
some insane
Anything
But
could
what
be
I'm saying-
true. Oh
No,
my
no.
gosh.
Well, hold
Hold
on. But
on,
what
it was
I'm
already
the point of what I'm trying to
confirmed
say
be
here, though,
wrong.
it was not confirmed to be false. It hasn't. I mean, it's
That's-
to be fair,
Wait,
the
so
burden
do
of
they
proof
have
is
to do
not.
a tally
You're
of every cat
You're
and
right.
dog in
That's
the
what I'm
city?
saying. This is what
The
I'm saying. Like the
Springfield,
burden of proof is
Ohio
obviously.
mayor had already said
burden-
it was wrong.
No, the burden of
before
proof.
the debate.
Oh, I know. We all watched the debate where the moderators again fact check him on that, right, and argued with him about.
Because it was an egregious lie.
But
Just like what you
I
did earlier.
understand the
You're
burden
not
of proof is on the person making the claim. I fully understand that. But the question again is the comparison between the two. I haven't seen any major media outlet. I haven't even seen this from Fox News, like fucking really grilling her on this position that she's taken from the ACLU. I've
Because she
seen
didn't
like
say
people
it.
bring it up.
did
Well,
say it.
no, but Trump accused her of it, and then she played dumb, like she didn't know what was happening. The moderators didn't follow up on that
It was
whatsoever. The
5
moderators,
years
had,
ago.
the
and people
moderators had no
pick
point.
it up to
5 years
check-
ago, the last time she was in a primary. That's what we have to go off of.
And her
You
voting
go off
record.
go off her time as VP. Go off her time as Attorney General or a
The
senator.
VP is
What?
not the president.
Yeah. I mean, we can also go off her voting record, which has been one of the most liberal voting records of all time. So, like,
Can you
it
point
seems
to
to be lining up.
Can you point to an instance where she voted for trans healthcare for inmates?
I don't know if this was ever brought to
It
Congress.
was never brought to Congress. Yeah, that's
Then
like.
why are we
Can you
arguing
point
about
to,
it?
Because as somebody who has authority over the DOJ, she might have more authority to actually get that done.
Yeah, which is the
Okay.
problem if my tax dollars are
It's
going to
still
that.
something
That's
that would take
insanity.
an act of Congress.
Do you think that's number one on her
Not
list?
necessarily.
Like,
I'm not-
nobody-
5,000.
no,
Nobody
it's
says
all
it's number
problem.
one on her list. What is the
I'm
standard?
saying
where
that it
it's-
won't happen. I'm saying it won't happen.
That's why. Thank you for the gift subs, but carry on.
Yeah,
Wait,
okay, and frankly, like, you're saying it's not going to happen. We don't know that. It's very possible that it could happen. I think you actually very brilliantly analyzed why Kamala Harris can't back up from this. We already have one state, I think it was either Indiana or Ohio, one of those states, that they've already recently ruled that yes, you actually do have to provide trans surgeries for trans inmates, like gender surgery for trans inmates.
Right,
There
I
is a
mean, like,
shift happening in the country on this,
legislation.
and she absolutely, not legislation, it was a court decision actually.
Right, that's
Kamala
what I'm saying.
Harris,
I'm saying legislation in Congress will not
yes,
happen.
no, but
That's
it,
what was
it won't necessarily take legislation, just like it didn't necessarily take legislation for
Right,
Donald
I
Trump to
understand.
move money from the military budget into the wall. You could have Kamala Harris, for example,
Right.
earmark money into the DOJ and then put some of that in terms of like some federal grant to prisons in order to pay for this kind of transgender therapy. This absolutely could happen. There's nothing
Yeah.
that indicates that she's ever walked back that position.
I
Wait,
mean, we
but
can
this
look
is
at our other positions
Why
too.
should
Like,
she?
we can look at our other positions too. Like, okay, so just at the debate, she said, "We're not going to come for your guns, or we are gun owners, right?"
It was
And then
Indiana.
yesterday,
It was Evansville, Indiana.
Biden Harris pushed out a new thing to restrict gun rights already. So she's already taking action against
You are
what she's
lying.
doing, but nobody's calling her out on this
Okay,
again.
hold on.
because
Why
guess
is he
what?
lying? No, you've been accused of lying. Explain why, please.
I know exactly what he's talking about. I actually shared this in the
and then
Discord.
you can respond after this because that's an accusation to level. Why is Gibbs lying? And then Gibbs can respond, please.
Well, we already know he's been lying the whole time. So
I barely said anything.
Yeah, let him.
I mean,
let him
all
get
the
it out.
lies.
Go ahead.
So the Biden-Harris administration did share about 14 bullet points to help curb gun violence in the U.S. I'm looking for the exact list of bullet points as we speak, but off the top of my head, it addressed violence prevention programs. It says the Department of Education was going to take steps to. Sorry, something beeped and I lost my train of thought. They were going to take steps to unify and roll out better drills for active shooter. They are going to research the best practices for active shooter drills and then roll that out nationwide. They were also going to try to improve background checks, and it addressed a whole bunch of other things, but at no point did it say, "We are going to take your guns, Gibbs. We are coming for your guns, Gibbs."
Okay, and once again, I said, and this is why I wasn't lying, I said steps in that direction. First of all, let's go into the article I posted, which goes into depth on this. While you were looking for your bullet points, I had this ready. Why don't we just go into some of these? Oh, we tackle machine gun conversion devices, which are small devices to be made with a 3D printer, turn a handgun into a fully automatic weapon. Okay, why are they coming for 3D printer stuff? That, when the whole point of a well-regulated militia is to be able to fight a governmental thing. So basically, that's just one.
no.
Hold on, no.
flag
What does
laws
the device
too.
do? What does the device do? Say that again. Say that again. Say what the device does again. What does the device do? What does the device do?
I let you talk. I'm answering now. I'm talking.
But you just slipped over exactly why. Like it's a very reasonable thing to ban.
No, it's unreasonable, actually. There's a reason why the Constitution says well-regulated militia. The original list intent would be, hey, this guy should be able to own artillery at his house in order to fight the United States Army. So, yeah, I got a problem with it. Major problem that they're restricting it. Secondly, why would they even need to know what people are doing in their own homes? And this is not even talking about the other thing. That's just one thing they've already restricted on gun rights. And then we can go down to red flag laws. That's a problem. We go on other stuff. They're creating new task force to handle this. These are all things that they've said they were going to do. Executive agencies are expected to do this. So you know what? No, I wasn't lying. You're lying because literally in the article, it's saying they are taking direct actions to do these things. And you're over here going, oh, that didn't happen. They have a bullet point list. You know who else had a list? The Nazis. That's great. Cool. God, good job, bro. You did really
Found
good.
it.
That's outstanding debate, bro. Skills you got there.
That's great. So,
Go
you know
ahead.
what? I disagree with them on that as well, like the gun stuff. But the thing is that this debate is whether or not Trump is being sanewashed, not whether or not Kamala has changed her position on something. Because I don't really think that any position that she's said one way or the other is particularly like cuckoo crazy bananas. You might say that she's like obfuscating, but I don't know if that's like being insane.
Let's
lying again.
hold on.
She's
This might
lying
actually this might actually help the discussion. How do you, Shin? We'll start with you. What is, and then we'll go to Vigilante and Generic. What is one stance, statement, or event that Trump has done, said, or participated in that you feel that the media specifically sanewashed? Go ahead.
I think that they specifically sanewashed the fact that it depends on what you mean by media. Are we talking about in like
Well, this
all
is your
media? Are we
stance.
talking
Hold
about
on.
on
This
his
is your
side, their side?
Well, this is your stance, right? That you came
Right.
on
I just
with.
need a clarification because that was not really clarified. Are
For
we
what
like what are
you
we
mean
counting
by
as
media, right? You
Okay.
get to
Uh,
decide.
The
I'm
general
asking.
I've got
media.
Yeah.
I've got one.
Like maybe a good example would be like
Generic,
one where
let's-
51% of the media said
Right,
that said it was sane. What he said that was actually crazy.
So one thing that I mean, here's the thing. I think that it's less about that and more about changing standards. Like the fact that he's seen as a serious candidate on the level of Kamala, on the level of Joe Biden, and has been, put as basically like it's one or the other in this horse race. So, I mean, they're inherently sanewashing him. It's kind of like what's it called? Like a coalescing of like all of the things he said that generally point to him not being taken seriously, yet he's taken just as seriously when he continues with stuff that's untrue, proven false for years and years. Like, for example, the one that he, won the 2020 election. That's a good one. And he said, oh, wait, I lost by a hair. And then he said, oh, wait, I won it again. Stuff like that. I mean, we shouldn't be even
that's
taking
a
him
good
seriously.
example. Okay.
No, which media sanewashed that? That's not a good example.
No, it's an example, a specific
Fox
example, I
News?
should say.
Yeah, but which media sanewashed that?
Fox News?
Wait,
got
Fox News
screwed
said
over
that?
this. Yes.
But hold on.
Okay, wait. You're talking about Tucker Carlson getting sued because of their statements over Dominion,
It wasn't just Tucker Carlson. It was
and some other people.
basically-
Fox News.
Yes, and
Okay.
and them continuing to push that the election was stolen, and continuing to push that this case.
But we have
could
an
be true.
example of
that
an election being
case could be
stolen.
true.
But we have it in Connecticut
Sorry,
right
what?
now. In Connecticut right now, there's a case going on with 4 people indicted because they were literally on tape giving each other high fives as they stuffed ballot boxes. So y'all act like there's no examples of this from the Dems in recent memory. And then here's another thing. I have a problem with this, right? This is the whole problem I have with this take that Trump is insane, yada yada. Well, if you were Donald Trump, and you believed that they were using lawfare to stop you, and they've now shot at you twice, you might be starting to think they're out to get you. And then I hear the Dems all going, "No, that's insanity. That's insanity." I
He
mean,
himself
any
said
other
in private
rational
that the
person,
election
that would
wasn't
seem
stolen.
that would seem like a normal, I don't know, conclusion to come to. For them, if you get shot at twice and you're being sued for a million different things while you're running for president, would you not come to the conclusion that people are out to get you? I mean, because it looks like they are.
So you're
Is that
basically
insane?
saying that all of
Is
the
that
hate
insane?
against him has made him crazy and made
No, I'm
him
saying
deny
that's not
reality.
insane.
And made
No,
him
it's not an insane thing to come to that conclusion is what I'm saying. And y'all are making it seem like it is insane.
So he's delusional because
He's
people
not delusional
bullied
at
him,
all.
and now he's delusional.
No, it
People
is
have bullied
delusional
him,
to
and
say
now he
people
believes
aren't
in
coming after him.
unreality.
No. What's
Right,
more
but I'm
delusional?
talking about
we
stuff that he said.
look at evidence here. We have evidence he's being sued for a million
He
things. We
tried
have
to
evidence he's been almost
overthrow the
assassinated twice.
government. Of
No,
course,
we didn't.
people are
No, he
coming
didn't.
after
He
him.
did not do that. He said
Yes, he did.
peacefully and
Did.
patriotically. He did not
Yes,
try to
he
overthrow it.
did.
There's
What about
no
the rest of the
direct
speech?
there's
The
no
actual
direct
quote was in the
evidence to him doing
background.
that.
Let's hear that
There's
he
lots
said
of people
peacefully
give
and
fiery
patriotically.
speeches.
Bro,
Why do you think he said that
There's
Mike
no
Pence
direct
was too
evidence.
honest? Why did he say that Mike Pence was too
You
honest?
say there's hold on. You say there's no direct evidence of this, but there is literally videos evidence of one of
People
his
put pumping ballot
fucking
boxes full of stuff. Yeah, we got videos of that.
No, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up for a second. There's literally public video evidence that has been public since before January 6th of Lauren Boebert giving Proud Boy leadership a tour of the Capitol when
What does that have to do with Trump?
a private tour of the Capitol when tours were closed prior to January 6th, helping them scope it out. This has been public since before January 6th. Lauren Boebert is one of the leading puppets of Donald Trump, and the bitch does whatever the fuck he says.
So Trump did this tour, is what you're saying. He himself took the leader of the Proud Boys' hands and walked him down the aisles of Congress. Is that what you're saying? Trump did this? Yes or no?
I am saying that.
Yes or no? It's simple. Trump either walked him down the hallways or he didn't walk him down the hallways. Yes or no?
I am saying
Trump
that there.
personally do
I
it?
am saying.
Yeah, did Trump and them do this? Because it sounds like you got a
I
whole
am
lot
saying
of
that it was a planned coup.
Okay.
Oh, a planned coup. Oh.
Yeah, he did spend like
Seems
3
pretty well
hours
elected
while the
plan.
riot was going on calling members of Congress to convince them to not certify the election instead of, calling the National Guard.
Who Nancy Pelosi was in charge of the National Guard
Okay,
for this.
generic.
The Speaker of the House does not have more
Hold on,
power
hold
over the
on, hold
National
on,
Guard than
hold
the
on.
president.
That was up to the sergeant of the army.
She,
and
Pelosi even admitted she was the one who was supposed to have more
I
guard.
wanna
This
get
is
more
insanity,
examples.
bro.
The one example that we've had so far, right, is the one provided by Katusha. Generic, do you have an example of something that Trump has said or done that you feel that the media has sane-washed? Go ahead.
The debate, the first one actually. So Biden had a terrible performance. Not gonna pretend he didn't. He did. He's my main man. I love him as president. He will always be my Dark Brandon. But that was a bad debate performance. Despite that, Trump's performance was god awful. The things he said during that debate were atrocious, and that got no coverage. He once again talked about He once again talked about 9-month abortions, killing the baby on the table. He talked about how we were letting in insane asylum people and terrorists and all that at the border. He talked about a bunch of crazy stuff, and all
It's
that
true,
just
though.
got
It's true.
ignored.
Do you think
Gibbs,
he knows what asylum means?
Do you
No.
don't think they're doing this with the border? They don't have these people coming across. We literally have reports today that Abbott just put out of Taliban wanting to plan October 7th style attacks and using the southern border as a place where they're thinking they're going to enter and go through this. So yeah, I would say that pretty much proves that Trump is right. Once again, I mean, if you live near the border, you know that he's telling the truth. So I don't know, it's just people that don't live near the border that are going.
What do you witness, or I know
There's
you said you
crime. It's crime. There's
how many asylum terrorists do you see on a daily?
I mean, I see plenty of illegal people committing crimes.
How many
all the time.
terrorists do you see?
I mean,
Where do you
define
see
terrorism.
illegal people specifically committing crimes? How do you know that they're illegal immigrants? What do you witness? What
Well,
are we talking
it's called watching your local news, and you see, this person, undocumented citizen from Honduras, undocumented citizen from Venezuela, listing committing crimes. We see people stuffed in the back of trucks. We see massive amounts of human trafficking down here. It's y'all just are totally unaware of what local news is. It's crazy talk here, what y'all got going on.
Yeah, you witnessed the human trafficking yourself, true. But I mean, what I'm saying is,
I witnessed the human
I don't
trafficking
know if
myself.
this is
No, I'm not over
happening
here
to
watching human
Well,
trafficking.
you said
I'm not part
you
of
said
that.
you were witnessing
data
it.
because
Yeah, you witness crime. I don't know specifically that guy that stabbed that guy, while they're both speaking Spanish is illegal or not. But when I see it on the 6 o'clock news, we've seen people stab each other all the time. It's Texas, bro. You get stuff happens. What do you mean? And then you watch the news and they go, "Oh, this guy was illegal. Oh, surprise!"
Let's give Lactoid a chance to respond. So the two claims that have been made, right? That the debate at the first debate with Biden, Trump's gaffes, Trump's performance was just overlooked and ignored. You watched that debate with me, right?
I did.
You said on that Trump did not give a good performance. Biden did it worse, right? But Trump wasn't good.
This has been the overwhelming consensus of most of the stories that I've been able to find just now, and it was my opinion at the time, and it was most of the opinions that I recall saying at the time, which is a lot of criticism of Trump, but in a rare move. Oh yeah, the Dem candidate actually did really fucking bad because he did do really fucking bad. As I think we all at this point at least agree, had knocked him out of the race. So no, I don't find that one to be a valid example. I do think that there was overwhelmingly negative coverage on Trump, but of course there was a lot of negative coverage of Biden of that as well.
Is it sane or not sane washing? Is it improper though, right? If a candidate does more negative things, that they are covered more negatively, right? Is this actually evidence of a bias against Trump? If 70% of the time he's saying crazy shit, should the reporters not cover that 70% of the time?
You see, that's where it gets difficult. Not necessarily, right? I think that because ultimately the question here is, well, you guys are alleging that technically the media is sane-washing Trump, because I think everyone agrees that most of the media on Donald Trump is bad. And if you don't, you're just anti-science, okay? Because it's true. Most of the media, well, I'm guessing your guys' position here is that, well, if it was fair, it would be even worse because we think he's just that fucking crazy.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I understand. I understand the position. Now, it is, again, empirically the case that overwhelmingly the media against Donald Trump is negative. And even the beginning, I think it's overwhelmingly negative to the point of just like raw insanity, right? 5% as of 2017, 5% of his press coverage being positive compared to over 60% of it being negative. 5%. Are you kidding me?
Study, Lactoid? Can you
Yeah,
send me
this
that
is
study? I'm not doubting you. I
yeah,
want to see the methodology.
sure. This is Pew Research, so I can send this to you. But
Okay.
And let,
Post it in the group chat because
and
I want to.
Yeah.
I'll
please
post
do.
all three of the things that I was referencing in the group chat.
But the
But as to Katyusha's
finish,
example,
but then I have a follow-up. Go ahead. Finish.
as to the other example, if you think that Fox News, which there were a few personalities on there that obviously they got sued by Dominion, so there were a couple personalities on there that were repeating claims that you could argue is giving weight to the idea of Trump being sane if he's saying these XYZ things that you think are crazy. Now, I mean, you can find one that was good that you asked for an example because I didn't think they'd be able to find one, but I could arguably see why this could be an example. Now, just to be clear, right? If the challenge being put forward to them is find if like one or two examples of the media being like nice to Donald Trump, or sorry, a single media outlet being nice to Donald Trump, of course you can find that. Just turn on Newsmax. You're going to find a lot of pro Donald Trump coverage, right? And if we're going to aggregate Newsmax to the media, then we've already lost the debate, obviously. But the question is not like one channel or one station. It is the media, like the aggregate media.
Well, it would also be
what
influence.
Americans consume.
Just to be clear, it'd also be influence. If you have one outlet which 10 people read, right, and they're 90% negative against Trump, who the fuck cares, right? But if you have a outlet that 1 million people read, they hold 1 million times more weight, right?
Oh, well, absolutely, right. But again, like, yes, Fox News is a large channel, and there were segments of that, not all of them, by the way, but there were segments that were pro-Trump. In fact, if I'm pretty sure the same, and I can find this as well, technically most coverage from Fox News, at least the first term, was also negative of Donald Trump. Now, it was much closer to even than the other stations, but it was still a large chunk negative. I think over 50% negative. But we also have other stations like CNN, MSNBC, BBC, etc., that are overwhelmingly negative against Donald Trump and also have a huge viewership. New York
Can we
Times.
just do U.S.? Can we just do U.S. media outlets for this? Because I
Well,
know
the BBC is in the U.S., right? They have stations in the U.S.
Right, but they're
Yeah.
primarily a British, like, state-owned thing. So
Yeah,
can't we
they're
just
owned by
can
the
we
British.
just can we just focus on
Absolutely not.
focus on American-owned?
No,
Absolutely not, because
Because
the
y'all don't
U.S.
do that.
because the
So we're gonna-
U.S.
are we
media
gonna
the
keep
U.S.
How do
media
I not
environment.
do that? My
Well, no.
my
Whoa,
argument
whoa,
is-
whoa. I'm not saying that you're doing this. I'm not trying to point a
Gibbs
hypocrisy
was,
here.
Gibbs was.
I'm saying
I know
y'all
he
in
was. I know he
general,
was.
broad y'all.
Right, but my argument is that the U.S. media landscape has a lot of different actors in it, and not all of them are American, and we have to take that into account, right? If we have major news outlets like, again, the BBC, which a lot of Americans read and a lot of Americans are involved in, this is U.S. news,
Yes.
right? This is a U.S. media outlet at this point.
To be fair, I'm going to back Lactoid up on that. I read the Independent a lot, and I know that it's not a American outlet.
Gotcha. Yeah, sure, that works. I mean, the reason why I was saying it was more for delineation purposes, considering, we're talking about ownership of things, because who companies are owned by, generally people think that has some sort of sway over what they publish. But I mean, you know what? BBC is pretty, chill as far as news sources go. So whatever. I mean, if we want to do it that way, that's fine with me.
Would you be more amicable to this statement, Lactoid? That there are some in the media with large audiences and influence that are sanewashing Trump?
Now,
Tucker Carlson would
sure.
be the
So,
go-to, right? And he's the biggest podcaster.
Mhm.
Like
just to be clear, now if that was the argument here, which I haven't even gotten to, because I think that you can't even begin to say the media is like being pro-Trump generally at all. I actually do sort of agree with Gibbs that I think Trump is a lot more sane than people give him credit for. So I think that there are influencers that support him. I don't think that they're necessarily sane washing him. But if you're going to say, can you find me large influencers that support Donald Trump? Of course, and
What would
there's
be the
and,
difference
and
between
perhaps
sanewashing and support in your mind?
if the support is about something that I find to be insane consistently, then this would be sanewashing. If the support is about something that I find to be not insane consistently, then this would not be sanewashing. It would just be support.
Lactoid, do you not see it as a problem that Trump has caused conspiracy theories to become mainstream?
That's the problem. Okay, I got to get in on this right here. And this
Can I say one thing first?
Sure.
Before we go any further, my issue wasn't that the media didn't cover Trump negatively. It was that they made him sound sane. Yes, Trump also had a bad performance, but the shit he said during the debate sounded insane. That didn't get focused on at all. We just, in most articles, and now we started talking about the negativity.
Well,
so
wait.
Hold
Let's get an example.
Hold on.
Gibbs, let's ask him for an example on that. So, what during the debate, or talking about the Biden-Trump debate, what did he say that was insane that the media like defended him on, or didn't call out as being insane?
The 9-month abortion thing.
There's evidence to support that.
Oh, wait, hold on. This can be a great learning thing. What 9-month abortion thing?
Yes, 9-month abortions happen. No, Dems do not want 9-month abortions to happen.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
Get him.
Whoa, this is interesting because Tim Walz, the VP for Kamala Harris, signed a bill in I think 2022 or 2021. I could be wrong on that, but it was within the last 4 years that legalized abortion all the way up until birth with no requirements necessary in many states.
Why?
What's the point of that?
Because it was the post Dobbs insanity of holy shit, we got to go as far as possible.
Right, but why would you want it to be legal until like the point of birth? For what reason? What was that?
The reason given? Well, no. So the reason given, there wasn't actually a reason, but I guess the explanation given behind the bill was that the right of a woman to seek an abortion, that abortion is categorically healthcare, and that an abortion is categorically a human right, specifically, obviously, like a woman's right. I think they called it a human right, but they said it is a right, and so this right cannot be interfered with. They also removed the requirement that it be done by a doctor.
So yeah, so basically,
hold on. We
don't need the reason behind that. We don't need the reason behind that.
I want to hear it because it's not going to be clear.
Was that basically okay, so doing that basically moves the jurisdiction for, when an abortion takes place from like the legal system to a doctor. 9-month abortions that are elective pretty much don't happen. But if a doctor has to make sure that a woman's on death's doorstep or will die or will suffer extreme health consequences, before they feel comfortable moving ahead, because otherwise they might end up getting charged, which we've seen happen with earlier cases, as far as since Dobbs, we've seen situations in which doctors do not want to act early enough to intervene because they're afraid of the legal consequences. That's why the point of making it legal until then is basically just so it's up to doctors' discretion about
here's the deal, though.
I respond to this specifically because this is not true, right?
I got to get it
because the bill obviously could have accounted for this. The bill could say, like, if the doctor can put forward a good faith basis into believing that the woman's life was in danger or health was in danger, then abortion could be allowed up to 9 months. And like the burden of proof is on the state to prove that the doctor didn't have this good faith belief. But that wasn't included in the bill.
Is a doctor going to risk their medical license, their freedom, their everything over that?
Hold on. The goalpost is moved, by the way, because the initial statement was Trump was crazy for saying that. He was absolutely.
That's what I was trying to get.
Saying that it happens electively, saying they want it to happen electively.
No, it is legal. It is legal.
It's legal to do electively.
The claim is legal. No, this would be like saying, oh, let's just legalize killing black. Yeah, let's just legalize. Well, hold on. It is legal electively.
It is legally electable. Yeah.
Right, but
it's legal electively. A woman could, at any point during the pregnancy, choose for any reason or no reason whatsoever to go to a non-doctor and get an abortion.
And this is the point that I want to make here.
Wait.
No, I'm not waiting. Listen, so this is the one.
That was insane.
I don't give a shit. Listen, this is what point I want to make is that there's
I've read the law on this.
There's legal proof that we have that this exists, right? So Trump's not insane for saying. I'll give you another one.
To be clear, though, he didn't say up to 9 months. He said after birth.
So
Yes.
sure, but there's basis in some of this as well. But here, so
What is
let's
that?
go to the cats. Hold on.
That one's
I want to
arguable.
bring one other
They
thing here.
put the baby on
cat,
the
But that's what
table
he
thing,
said. To be clear,
you take
like
that out of
even
context.
like this is my
arguable.
frustration here. Shut up. This is my frustration here with GenericPlayz. Even right, you said it wrong. He didn't say that there's abortions up to 9 months happening. He said that there's abortions taking place after birth. So even in trying to accuse Trump, you've kind of sanewashed him, right? It couldn't have meant that. He had to have meant something else, right? And this is what happens all the time. People are like, well, no, he couldn't have actually meant that. He had to have meant something else. And we do it because we can't just grasp and wrap our head around with Trump just believing crazy shit. He came onto the scene because he thought Obama was born in Kenya and wasn't a real American. That's his whole thing.
Exactly.
That was his original coming
with,
onto the scene.
I take issue
That's
with that. This is
insane.
And hold on.
There's a problem with this.
And
There's a problem with this.
I never even got to say my thing that I never.
We're on abortion. We're on abortion for a second.
Yeah, that's fine. We're on the abortion thing. That's fine. The point is, though, right? Like, okay, we've already gone through this debate. The first one we talked about was, what was it? The trans surgery thing. That sounded the same. Ended up being true. This one, it's got at least a pretty significant kernel of truth. Maybe there's some arguable stuff about the afterbirth thing. We can argue that. Now maybe he was being hyperbolic and like getting it real life. Hold on, that's fine.
Sanewashing is happening.
We said it so many times.
No. Hold on. It's a reasonable conclusion to come to. Hey, this could be something they want further down the line. The way they're going, and let's go to a third one.
We always have to view him in good faith.
Let's talk about the dogs and cats thing. You know what's interesting is he also brought up Aurora, Colorado, which is really interesting to me because they were talking about Trin de Agua, right? That's the big gang that's supposed to be taking over Aurora. And we have conflicting reports of city managers.
I'll give it to you that not everything Trump says is wrong or a lie.
So, but here's my thing. That's not as but what you're doing right now is you're painting a sane person as insane. In fact, you're insane watching him because he's saying things that are reasonable and people can come to these
afterbirth abortion
based
reasonable?
off
Saying that's happening. Saying afterbirth
I don't think
abortion.
9 month abortions is reasonable. So for me, I don't see a very big jump there.
He said afterbirth. No.
If you know
He said it's happening afterbirth. Where is the evidence?
A few months after birth, what's the difference? A few months after, 9 months. Yeah,
come on, man.
No, I don't see a difference. Like really, like at that point.
So what's being okay? Let me just explain here. So what's being
before anyone goes, let me make some money, please. I know making money. Lactoid, you were going to have the floor after I do this. Remember, gang, $10 from Total Emergency. WIC W, afterbirth abortions is what was said, and it got sanewashed in real time here. Thank you for the $10. And in addition, real quick, gang, Progressive Victory, I get paid by them, but we're hosting Collins. We're hosting phone banking. Thank you. We're hosting phone banking. I'll put the links in chat if you want to go. It's for
you got a sub comment on Twitch too.
Yeah, it's for Mary Peltola in Alaska, a Democratic House seat there. Okay, I'll put the links. Lactoid, it's you.
Okay, so what's being referenced with the afterbirth abortion, so specifically in Minnesota, and there's an open question as to some other states as well. But so, for example, this, by the way, the bill was signed in May of 2023, so it wasn't 2022 or 2021. But in May of 2023, Tim Walz signed the bill. And the bill replaced some wording here, which was that in the case of a medical personnel, when they're dealing with a woman who's having an abortion or giving birth, that they have to take all reasonable measures consistent with good medical practice to preserve the life and health of the born alive infant. And the bill changed that wording. They removed the word preserve, and instead they put to care for the infant who is born alive. Now, the concern with this change in language that I guess Trump and other people are having when they're referencing like afterbirth abortion is they're concerned that this language would allow doctors to, okay, the child is born dead, like during a failed abortion or during some kind of like issue, and they intentionally don't take any efforts to save the life or like to bring the infant back to life, because technically the infant wasn't born alive, right? The infant was born dead. That's what they're pointing to as the concern. Now, I agree, this is arguable. How this law would be interpreted is arguable. It's in 2023, so we don't know how that particular provision would be arguable. But that's what they're referring to when they're talking about post-birth abortion, right? Oh,
well,
technically,
why do they talk about West Virginia all the time?
Let me give the exact quote from Trump. Thank you, Saxon, for the sub, and thank you for the exact quote. So this is a Trump quote. and her vice presidential pick, which I think is a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. Execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay. And that's not okay with me, hence the vote. So while you could say, yes, arguably, him signing that bill says he thinks that the 9-month thing is okay, please find me a quote where Wall says it's okay to kill babies.
No,
Well,
wait.
You think having a DNR
Quote,
order is
execute them.
Stop.
I'm
not. No. Well, you can post the evidence. You can say the evidence in just a second. I'm not necessarily making the claim that Tim Walz has said this. Okay, nobody's saying that. What I'm saying is that when Donald Trump says
Trump says it.
what he's referring
We're
to,
sanewashing him right now.
He's referring to what I just said.
You are literally doing.
What he's referring to. Hold on. He's referring to what I just said, which is in the state of Minnesota. Arguably, they've removed the requirement for doctors to save the life of a failed abortion. Now, you might think that's not execution, and execution is obviously like rhetorical language. Now, there's a real argument to be had there. Is it clear enough that he's like directly absurdly lying? Not necessarily. But what he's for sure not being crazy about and for sure not lying about is the absolute change in the law that allows abortion for any reason or no reason all the way up until the day of birth. This is absolutely the day before the woman is due. She could go into a non-doctor in the state of Minnesota and get an abortion, even if maybe she like. I know this person doesn't exist, or at least we don't know if she exists or not. She could like get off on getting abortions, and this would be legal in the state of Minnesota.
Hold on. One more thing.
Just in Gibbs,
Yeah,
I'll let you go
Santa Claus
exactly
could
after I
be
speak
real.
here. I'll let you go. But Lactoid,
I haven't
don't
talked in a while.
Vigilante, I promise. We got a lot of passion here. We got a lot of people want in. I get it, but I need to have a good discussion here, okay? So, Lactoid, I understand that, yes, he said something that is just factually true. It's just factually true, that the 9-month thing. But don't you think it's reasonable to think that it's sanewashing, or to call it sanewashing, when you use that factually thing that he said, that's true, to run cover for the batshit crazy thing he said right after that? So yes,
I don't think it's
true.
batshit crazy.
He said the
They
9-month thing.
do on the media.
That's true.
I don't think it's
But then he
batshit
made his
crazy.
Can I
batshit
ask you a
crazy
question?
statement,
Rick, I wanna
which
ask you a
again,
question.
the reason you're
if you don't
saying he
think
said that,
that's
I don't think
crazy.
is true. To be honest, I don't have evidence of this, to be clear.
Rick,
but
I
I don't
have
think
evidence of
I
it.
don't
I have a
think
question.
he knows enough about the law there to make these distinctions. Okay, he's playing hungry fucking hippos, right? He heard something on the news and he's repeating it, right? But
So-
what he's repeating
I have
is
a question.
he thinks that 9-month born babies are being executed, which isn't true. It's not happening, and it's legal nowhere. Gibbs,
Wick, hold
go ahead.
Wick, all right. So let me ask you this then. All right, we have evidence. There's been reported by Just the News, by Charlie Kirk, and by John Solomon reports that there's been 8 babies that have died after they survived botched abortions and because they were not given any medical care. Would you agree? That sounds like you're killing babies after birth.
No, they weren't born. They were aborted.
No.
But they lived. They survived the abortion.
Also, no.
Wait, so for that to be
They
like
lived for an extended
executing
period
or
of time,
killing, that would
and
be
y'all-
that would have
so
to be
it's- you
so that
basically
do you
pulled the
think
Spartans.
DNR orders are killing somebody or somebody not getting medical care when they're
That's different
not
whenever
compatible with life?
they
Babies
have the
can't get
choice.
DNR orders.
Yeah, first of all, babies
Their
can't.
parents
Right,
Let me
but
tell you
can.
what
parents
you
can
just
make
did.
medical
Not for a baby.
The
consent for their-
Democrats right now are advocating that we take babies that aren't wanted and put them on a plate in the middle of nowhere like the Spartans did and just letting them get eaten by eagles and wolves. That's what the Dems just advocated.
Yeah, we all
they
said
just
that.
they just said that it didn't happen. It didn't happen. That doesn't count because they were aborted babies.
Should
even
mothers
though
have to
they
feed their
lived.
children?
Even though the kids lived, so Trump is just clearly insane for saying that they want afterbirth.
Why do you think a
abortions.
parent
When
would
these kids
decide they
lived,
did
they
not
would
want
kill
their
them.
child to be
Doesn't
saved
matter.
at 9
this
months?
baby lived, and y'all went and said, "Hey, let's kill it after."
Why do you think a parent would decide
We have 8
that
babies.
we do not?
Okay.
A bad
Hey,
divorce.
no, we know.
Wait,
I'm
wait,
saying
a
no
bad
way.
divorce.
No,
A bad
no.
divorce at
That's
9
an
months.
afterbirth abortion.
How
with
many-
all intents and
how
purposes
many-
to leave it out to die like
how
that. That's an
many-
afterbirth abortion.
How?
So Trump didn't
how
lie again.
many-
Once again,
What percentage of abortions happen during the 3rd trimester?
Wholly irrelevant. Why is this even being asked?
Also,
Yeah, this
can you
doesn't matter.
link me
No,
to
No,
the
point
it
is
is.
for the-
It is.
Yeah,
It
can
is
we
very
see
relevant.
some
It is
links,
very relevant.
evidence here that they were
hold on. We're the
born
only ones
alive
that have
and
been.
this and
We're the only
that.
ones that have been providing evidence this whole time, for the record.
Hey.
So sure,
You
here's
haven't
another one.
asked for a
Only-
study
only
to back up
less-
the thing that
Here's
I
another
said.
one.
If you did, I
Here's from
give
the
it to you.
dispatch.
less than 1% of abortions happen in the 3rd trimester.
And here's the Charlie
Just
Clerk
no.
tweet.
And look, if
You're
tomorrow
complaining
Congress passed a
about
law.
less than. You're
Yes,
literally
yes,
complaining
yes,
about less
yes.
than 1% of abortions.
Yes, and if Congress tomorrow passed a law saying it's okay for everyone to go kill lactoid, I would also be opposed to this, despite the fact that I represent a fraction of a percent of the U.S. population.
What
We're not killing anyone on my
bias
show,
is
to
this
be
of?
clear. The only thing we
Well,
murder
I would be against
is the
this. I would
dance
say, why the
I
fuck are you
volunteer.
passing a law? Shouldn't it be not the law that we allow lactoid to go be killed? I am a fraction of the population, though, so I guess why should we care?
$5 for Journal Emergency.
So three right.
Admiral Gibbs is pretending like these were healthy fetuses based on nothing. He has
They
no
were
idea
alive after birth.
whether they were capable
alive
of
mean healthy?
surviving after birth.
It doesn't matter.
Because
The
alive
point is
mean
they were
would live
alive.
more than 2 months.
They lived through the abortion, and then they killed them after they were born. That's an afterbirth abortion.
Were they
Trump didn't
compatible
lie.
killed them. They let them
lifelong
die.
Look what you're doing right now. Yo, listen, this is what's so insidious about this, is we have literal proof that this happened, and then y'all are still going, Trump's insane for saying it.
Well, he
When we
said
have at least an
executions.
example. It
He's
is an
insane for
execution.
saying
This isn't
execution.
execution. This isn't
It's
execution.
an
It was
execution
rhetorical. It's a
to not
rhetorical
give
word.
care for somebody who's
Execution?
not
It's
compatible
literally an
with life.
execution.
If they're
Yeah.
a baby,
Not
if a
execution.
mother doesn't
You can
feed,
take
if a
any
mother
baby.
doesn't feed a baby, if a mother it's
Not
like a 4-month-old
compatible
baby,
with life.
yeah, if a mother has hold on, all babies are incompatible with life unless cared for by their mother.
What?
Well, how many babies
Okay,
you know?
I'm
A
sorry.
child
Take a
needs their
newborn,
mother to
Hold on.
survive, or their
If you
father.
get a
What
Kind of
newborn,
care
works
you
could
together.
that
take
ha-
a
hold
newborn
on.
There's a
healthy
difference
baby.
Hold on,
here
hold on,
between
hold on,
a
hold on,
healthy
hold on.
baby
And
dies
lactose
and
is
that
gonna
you
live or
would-
die.
Lactoid. What care could the mother have provided these 8 alleged
Food?
babies that would have kept them alive?
Warmth,
You're
food, water,
wait, you're misunderstanding my point. What I'm saying is
shelter.
that hold on. What you guys are comparing this like a DNR order. But what I'm saying is we don't allow DNR orders for infants for a reason. Because in the same way, like a parent can't just be like, oh, I'm going to DNR my child and stop feeding him Gerbers and he's going to fucking starve to death. No, we send like CPS to those homes and we take the child away and we make sure the child lives. In the same way
Why
that,
is
again,
palliative care for infants a
arguably,
thing? Why is palliative
arguably,
care for infants a thing? Why aren't they continuing to help them or continuing to try to save their lives if they're incompatible with life? Tell me why that is.
my understanding is that there's an obligation to try to save a child's life.
Right, but there's a point in which, you can't long term.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, if this is talking about like the limits of medical science, that like they're dying and we can't save them, that's wholly different than perhaps we
do you
could
think
save
there's
them,
a
but we're
difference
removing the
between-
requirement to save them.
Yeah, let me
Right,
ask you
but do you
this:
think
Can you
there's a
take any
difference
baby
between-
and let's like take away food, shelter, and motherhood, and just leave them not fed, not watered, and they will survive? Would you say they're compatible
So
with life?
there's
in
a
that situation?
difference. If
there's
it's
not.
a situation where medically, if you give the baby all those things and you give them medical care and this, that, and the other, everything, and they'll still die in 5 months, like if they have like shit like encephalitis, like do you think there's a difference between that and like leaving a baby out in the forest?
Yeah,
like, bro.
for sure. No, for sure. And by the way, if the bill was like specified this and saying, look,
Or maybe
in
they
this,
should
in,
specify more.
yeah,
but-
in this, well, until they do, Trump's not all that crazy for bringing this up.
And he
Right, but
didn't
here's
lie
the
about
thing,
even
do
the
you think that
afterbirth
he's-
abortions. So there you
Do you
go.
think that
Once
he's
again, not
taking
insane.
the most insane thing that is like the most insane interpretation of this law or this potential law, like where this is the most
It's signed.
extreme example
Well,
that could
it's not
ever
insane
happen?
when it's already happened.
Well, no, hold on. It is a signed bill, just to be clear. And second of all,
Oh, so sorry.
it's not like a crazy reading because they intentionally made this change. And the question is why? Why did they change the language here? This language is actually unrelated to the prior language about allowing abortion up until 9 months. But in the
Can you
bill,
give me
they
the
still
two
changed
languages?
I'll
Maybe
give you the
become bad
reason
to
why.
worry
It's
about
because
the
there's a
most
lot of
extreme
wing,
example.
there's a lot of wingnats out there who are trying to sue doctors for murder or charge them with murder because they didn't give
Try
CPR to some a fetus that got
They
aborted.
should have to give CPR.
What if the fetus is
Do you
incompatible with
disagree?
life?
You think a doctor should not have to give CPR to a child who's dying?
To a child, sure,
A child
but these
who's
are
dying?
not.
Yes. Well,
right?
they're outside the womb. What are you talking about?
Kids that live.
Even under your definition, they'd be children.
Okay, yeah, wait. There's 8 kids that lived. They survived, and they didn't get compatible with life. There's
And
various
surviving.
Will the
different-
CPR
Oh,
help
they
them
have
no,
live?
it's
wrong.
compatible
If
with
so,
life
then
can be
you will
very
have an
diseased.
argument. If
Huh?
so, then fair enough. I'll have to look into these cases, but I'll grant you that argument. If the doctor providing life-saving care would have saved their life, fair. But as I understand it, and I could be wrong because I just gave these sources, it would not have. They would have died regardless. Which is sad.
At least the law
Which is
in
sad.
Minnesota, it's questionable. I don't know
It's
about
not
Gibbs's case that he
questionable.
brought
You're
up.
just refusing
Yeah,
to look at the
the
nuance.
point that I'm making is that
You said the 9-month thing. Hold on. Are you still in the position that the 9-month thing was crazy?
Insane
so yeah, that's
thing,
the point.
right?
I'm
Because look at
Yeah,
how
I'm
this is
sorry.
being framed.
After birth
This
is
is being
crazy.
framed as Trump said, as executions.
9 month is crazy
that they're
too,
popping
but
them out
it's
and
allowed.
they're
It's
chopping
execution.
them up. That's
They
not
basically are doing
happening.
How many times?
What's
do
the
you
difference
think
between that and leaving a baby out to like die of exposure? What's the difference?
That's not happening either.
It is, Wick. It is, Wick. If you're not
They're
giving them
dying.
treatment, and you're,
It's
if you're
not.
look, okay, what is
But you would
treatment
die
consist
no
of?
matter
If
what.
it's food, if it's they're gonna give them health care, they're gonna take care of. That's exposure. They're literally letting this baby die when it could possibly be saved.
They're
That's
letting the baby.
execution.
They're letting the baby die in their parents' arms, letting these parents
when they
spend
would
a
die
few hours.
no
Yeah,
matter what?
when they die, no matter, instead of going through like 2 or 3 months of like harsh medical treatments
point
and
is that
whatnot,
it's
trying to
the same as
let me finish. Trying to prolong their life, they are letting this mother and father presumably say goodbye to the baby they wanted.
Again, the point of the law is that doctors get to decide these things, not courts.
Well,
So a
here's the point
doctor
that I'm
doesn't have
making,
to be
is
worried
that if
about
it
being
happened in real
charged
life,
with
it's not
murder
insanity.
by making a call, right?
That
Mhm.
is a moral question, not a medical question, whether or not
Yeah.
it should be considered murder.
Do you think that
And
medicine
it's for
works with ethics a lot? Because I think they do.
Yes,
Medical
in fact,
ethics is a big
Yes.
thing.
no, I know. I practiced medical malpractice law for a few years. I fully understand, but the law ultimately enforces them. If you're a doctor and you behave unethically and against the law, at some point it's no longer the doctor's decision. We're going to sue you, or they're going to be let out in cuffs, like a doctor, for example, who like drugs a patient and rapes her. Oh well, the doctor made a decision. I don't give a fuck. Absolutely not. We're sending in the cops and we're throwing them in the back of the
There's no world
cage.
in which the rape would help her like survive something. It's like if
Yeah,
this is
I don't care what
another-
maybe the
And
doctor
if-
is some kind of like harebrained, like, well, I'm going to have higher morale from doing this than save more lives. No, I don't give a fuck. Fuck this doctor and their stupid.
would it save that
And
person's life?
if you do this wrong, it can be qualified under malpractice. It shouldn't be separate from malpractice and
Yeah, but
stuff.
this all proves that Trump wasn't insane
No.
for saying it because it happened in reality.
It
That's
doesn't even
here.
require a licensed doctor
Wait,
to
this
do
is
it
serious.
anymore.
He called it
Sorry,
an
who's doing it?
execution, Gibbs.
It is an
That's
execution.
the
It is an
insane part.
execution.
Look, I agree.
What?
I agree. Execution is rhetorical language. I'm not going to dispute that.
It was
It's
probably not
also-
harsh
It was
enough
wrong.
language. It
not-
probably
Really
wasn't harsh enough language. It should have
an
been called
image in
a
people's-
baby genocide. That's what it should be called. Like, I mean, you're sitting here going, "Oh,
Hate is a
execution's too
genocide,
harsh."
bro.
I mean, it's the start of one. If we get Kamala, we're gonna get all across the nation.
Fucking
That's what
Christ.
Trump
We're
is
gonna
saying.
Yeah,
get
genocide in
after-birth abortion all
Palestine.
the time.
I mean, they
Why?
clearly
Why
are
would
okay
be-
with this.
what
They're
would
letting
this
babies
do?
die that could live.
Now we
If a
have
baby is
genocide
born
in
without
It's
lungs
not
or a
insane for
heart,
saying this. It
Education.
happened.
Is a
if a
genocide.
baby is
next
born
one?
without lungs or
Happened
a
in real
heart,
life, so he's
and
not
a
insane for
doctor
saying it.
decides, hey, this baby can't live. I think
Yeah,
it's
that should
okay.
be that. Yes, that should be written into the law. It should specify if, in the medical
The problem
opinion
with
of it,
writing it into the law, though, is if you have to make it so specific, any edge case, right? Any case where a doctor has to make a decision, right?
you can
is
make a
going
general.
to cause
Like,
the doctor to
Lose their-
He
hesitate,
did.
risk,
No,
We don't need to
possibly
no,
be
you-
risk.
super
you can
focused
address this
on
and make it.
holy
Here,
shit.
I had a perfect example. Like, here's the one line.
And this has happened. People have
in
been charged with this in Texas.
the doctor's opinion, if in the doctor's medical opinion, the infant is going to die within like 3 months, then life-saving care is not required, or something like that. That would at least be arguable to be okay. But that's not even in the fucking bill.
That still leaves the state, gives the state the opportunity, if they so choose, to go after the doctor. Better yet, let's just leave it completely up to the doctor's discretion.
No.
That's how we
We should
should
go,
then
go.
we
maybe
should
if the
go
parents
after
are
doctors for doing the wrong
And then
thing.
maybe if the parents have an issue with that instead of
So
the
doctor
Shit,
state.
it's called
Wait, wait.
malpractice.
So Dr.
happens
Kevorkian
more
shouldn't be convicted of any
Criminally.
crimes. Then it's crazy.
Yeah, he
That's
It's
should.
insane.
called
Okay.
malpractice.
Hey, he's okay with
Well,
doctors doing whatever they want.
I'm well aware of
It's
what malpractice
already-
is. This would not be counted as malpractice.
You know who else doctors work for? Big
Why
Pharma. Let
would-
the doctors do what they want. Hey,
Why
Because
is
who's
it
gonna
called
sue?
malpractice?
Who's gonna sue?
Who's going to sue for malpractice? The child's
Oh,
rights.
yeah.
The parents, if the baby
parents!
dies.
Hold on, you're
If
talking
the
about
doctor-
the
It wouldn't be
same
the
parents who
parents.
requested
You know
the
what would
abortion?
happen? I'll give
That's
you what would
insane.
happen. I'll tell you what would happen. The grandparents or a crazy nephew or uncle
Oh
or
my
This
cousin
does not
would
happen.
sue
Yeah.
or start to be charges. This is you do know in
This
Texas
is literal insanity.
there have been cases, right, where doctors have faced charges because they performed an abortion to save the life of a mother.
I think there's some states that have it like very strict, and
Yes, that's what we're
but there
trying
are-
to avoid and
but
what
I-
we
but I-
want
but I
to
And there have
think-
also been women
when
who died
Trump-
because the doctors
Okay,
didn't want to
when
act.
Trump
but
and
I think
others,
every
because
I
it's
think
not just
even
Trump
the
at
strict
this point.
states,
When Trump
even
and
the strict-
others try to frame these things as executions,
They are
right?
executions.
This is
Well, we need to sane
why
wash
we're
Gibbs a little
pushing it
bit
back.
because he's looking a bit
that's why
crazy.
we're
I'm not crazy at all. I feel like y'all are the ones coming off as
pointing
crazy
out the
because y'all saying that
insanity
these things didn't
and
happen,
the results
and then
of what would
We
happen.
didn't say
every single
never,
one of these
ever
things from the
happened.
debate y'all said was Trump was insane for sounding. We've gone and fact checked them, right? We've
we're
gone.
saying there's
The
no
Aurora thing, the cats and
execution.
dogs, maybe hyperbolic, whatever. Maybe there's still some evidence at the time that whatever. Yada
Not
yada.
happening.
Okay, maybe that
There's
was
no
fine.
What
evidence
We
of
do.
evidence is
Hold on,
there?
we do have.
There's
We
no
do.
evidence
Hold
that
on.
happened.
Maybe there's
No.
evidence that
Hold
Gibbs
on.
has
We do.
murdered
Hold on.
25
Let me go.
people. I don't know.
Let
I've
me
seen
finish.
evidence
Let me
against it.
finish. Well, we have evidence though of the stuff from Aurora. We have the evidence that's a problem. We have evidence in Dallas.
A
We've
problem,
had,
or that
hold on.
everything he said is
Hold on.
true.
I let y'all gobbledygook for a minute.
No.
We got,
Trump say
hold
something
on,
about
just wait.
Aurora during the debate?
Hold on. Yes, he did. He did say something about Aurora. So here we go. We got Aurora. That's a factual thing. We got the what was the first one? The trans illegal surgeries. That was a thing that ended up being true. We've got somewhat of a basis in fact that we're debating the specifics of whether or not it's an execution. It's basic enough.
and the
fact.
9-month thing
It's
is
not
100%
insane.
effect.
And then the 9-month things, and then y'all are still fighting this. Going, he sounds insane.
No,
Even
because he
when-
is. Because he
when-
said
when-
wrong
when- he's
lies.
not.
He said
What-
lies,
so
and
what
this
you got?
is
So
what's
we
happened.
disproved
Gibbs,
we
you're doing
disproved
this
three of
too.
them.
Gibbs, you're doing
We are
this too,
fighting
right?
it.
We disproved
Trump
3 of
will
y'all's
say
statements so
something,
far. So go
and
ahead.
then
What's
you
next?
will go and find out ways to twist things into him being correct.
Twist. How is it twisted?
Like the
what was the one of the things that was
execution
twisted?
comment.
It is an
We
execution.
just
Okay,
went
wait,
through that.
If you take a
We can
baby
do
and
it
they
again.
die of exposure,
The dog
that's
eating
execution.
comment. Let's get into that one, right?
Was there
you
people
are
talking
trying
about that?
to cover up saying, well, maybe it's true. We don't know. We can't know. We can
don't
never
know.
know for
The
sure.
media
We
is
can't
not
know.
defending
And
him on
then
that.
spin,
The media's not defending him on that one, sure.
right? Like, this is how it works. He says something batshit, right? You guys
given the
try to
Kamala
figure
stuff.
out a
Here.
way to fit
What?
it, to make it sound
I'll
sane,
give an
to
example.
package it, and to present it as something that's
no,
actually true.
he's saying
And
these
one of the
things that
ways
sound
you
insane
do
because they're
that,
true.
one of the ways you do
Yeah.
that is by, because not everything he says is crazy, not everything he says is wrong, is you take the things he says that are not true, or that are true, I should say, and you use it to gift wrap the lies, right? The spoonful of sugar
Mhm.
to help his shit go down, right? That's what happens. And not just you guys. This happens
This is
to
gaslighting.
Tucker
You're
Carlson,
gaslighting us right
Joe
now. That's
Can you give me an
Rogan,
example of people
Fox
doing the same thing with
We literally
Kamala
just
that
went-
was
Wait, I want to hear
Max.
Vigilante's
Here,
example.
Wait,
We
Yeah.
literally went
Yeah,
point
no,
for point down
so
everything in the
here.
debate, and we proved there's evidence to support it. And you're going, because there's evidence now that y'all found it, y'all are sane washing. That's insane. What you're doing is
$5.
literally gaslighting.
I'll give
That's
it to
You just
gaslighting.
I'll
said
give it,
You're
I'll give it to,
degrading
hold on,
our
I'll give it to
relationship.
Gibbs exactly
I'm trying to
after
ask
this.
a question.
I will. Gibbs, then Katiusha, but Gibbs after, then Katiusha.
What about
Gibbs?
Vigilante's
then
example?
me. then me.
$5 from TL1524. As probably the only person in chat with a medical degree who actually worked in pediatrics, the lefties are full of it on this one. We'll provide some sources, buddy. But yeah, let me see it. Okay, Gibbs.
Yeah. So what's interesting to me is you just sat there and literally did maybe the best gaslighting experience I've ever seen. Like, you should date a Latina; they would love it. It's crazy. You're sitting here, you're going point by point, going how much. Like, Gibbs in Light Toy, they proved this was the actual thing. Then that doesn't mean anything because he sounded crazy when he said it. This thing. Maybe he was a little bit hyperbolic, but so we're going to call him and say, well, there was a basis of truth for this. Every single one of these things, we've gone point, and we've shown either legally there was evidence, there's evidence that's happening to some degree, and you're going, well, his word choice was too incendiary.
Like he's
That's
crazy,
insane.
and the
When
media
it
says he
sounds...
speaks like he's crazy.
Nah, it's fake news. This is gaslighting at its finest by y'all. And actually, round of applause.
You just said
because
that.
Andrew Tate would be proud. Y'all have been
Great. So you
outstanding.
just said that he
followers of
speaks
Andrew
like
Tate.
he's crazy. You just said that he
No, I
speaks
said it
like
was
he's
incendiary.
crazy. Right, but you said that he says crazy things or says things in crazy ways. You said these
Yeah,
words.
for effect, so people won't
Right,
get
and
into
then the
it. And then
media
it ends up
says,
being
"Wow, he
true.
says this that sounds
And then it ended
crazy."
up being true. And then, wow, that was the crazy thing ended up being true. Maybe he's not so fucking crazy. Because guess what? He's saying and he's telling all the crazy shit that the Dems are doing. And y'all are going, well, just because you have evidence of that doesn't mean anything.
So, there was still a lot up to interpretation there, but what Wick said was true about how, like, he'll say anything and then we'll bend over backwards to try to find this edge case in which possibly, if you squint, if you really put on your peepers and you really think about it philosophically, then maybe a few cases of something might happen in theory. And then we go, oh, this is happening. And we're like, okay, yeah, he said that. He's 100% right.
Yeah, but I mean, like Lactoid would say about school shooting deaths, I mean, these are just statistically negligible anyways.
I have said this.
Fired.
I am a scientific individual. I have said this, but I'm not going to pretend that we should legalize school shootings now. Let me ask you this. You agree school shootings are rare. Why not just legalize them under your logic?
So a school shooting is breaking the law. Just like
that's why you should legalize it. I understand it's against the law, but shouldn't we make it legal? Since you guys are saying, well, it rarely happens. It's less than 1%. Let's just legalize it. Okay, let's legalize school
shooting
shootings.
involves a lot more people than just the parents and the doctor.
No,
I understand the difference, like in terms of like what the different two things are. I'm saying that the argument of, oh, it rarely happens, therefore we should legalize it. If we apply that logic, then we should be legalizing school shootings. We should be legalizing police killing unarmed black men. We should be legalizing all this shit because it's so rare.
Saying we shouldn't allow, but this no. This is a better example.
It's up.
Saying
It's
that
between the police and the black man.
Sorry, saying that you should not, saying that you shouldn't have abortion legal because there will be a few edge cases of it being, for a bad reason or not for a reason. There'll be a couple edge cases of that, so the whole thing should be illegal. Is like saying that we should ban guns because a few people will use them for school shootings. That's what the real example is there, which we obviously disagree with.
No, hold on. Wait. That is not a one-to-one. The one-to-one
that is exactly a one-to-one. Good sir.
I'll explain why it's not. Right? I'll explain why it's not. Give me a second to explain why it's not. It would be like we should ban little pokey things and hooks because sometimes they're used for abortion. That would be now relevant because we're talking about the tools that are used to kill the person. Now, I am not in favor of banning vacuums or banning small little knives and pokey things and hooks, even though some of them are used for abortion, because there are other uses.
Freedom versus using that freedom for bad.
Yes.
Freedom versus using that for bad.
Yes,
not
and using a gun and using a no. We're talking about the tool. Hold on, wait.
What does the Second Amendment do?
Listen. I'm saying both the tools should be legal. The gun should be legal, just like the hook should be legal. But there's a difference here if we're talking about killing a 9-month-old baby and shooting a school because you're using the tool for killing. That's the comparison. So when you're saying, hold on. When you're saying, well, we're like, it's super rare when they use this tool to kill a 9-month-old baby. Okay, well, it's super rare when they use a tool to shoot up a school. So let's just legalize school shootings, just like you think that 9-month abortion should be legalized.
So do you think that there's like another individual in between the person and the abortion that kind of gets to say, hey, is this allowed? Is this ethical? Does the person need this? Beyond just the person and doing it, like with a school shooting, an individual gets a gun and says, I'm going to go shoot up the school. But like we're talking about abortion, a person needs to go to a doctor, medical professional, and be like,
go to a gun
hey,
store.
I want this procedure.
You gotta go to a gun store to get the gun.
You're right. The decision to shoot up Columbine. The decision to shoot up Columbine. That was between Eric and Dylan, right? That was between them. They made that decision.
Eric and Dylan were not gun authorities.
Let me ask this, Lactoid.
This, that, and the other.
Doctors are not moral authorities.
Lactoid, let's start from
Doctors are medical authorities.
Yeah, not moral authorities, and killing involves a moral question.
Gun store owners are ammo authorities. What's your point?
There's a reason why there were so many Nazi doctors, just to be clear, like Mengele.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Okay, we're comparing people to Mengele. That's
Lactoid
great.
and Gibbs. Do you think that there is any situation in which an abortion is a medical necessity for the life of the mother?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, life.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Wait, that's the easy question.
Right. That's where
it's
we
a very
start,
easy question.
And that's why we We ramp up, right? But
So
we
good.
got a good basis, so I know, because there are some people who would say it'd be unethical in any circumstance.
There's some,
right?
yeah.
There are some.
Very, very. Now they're also very rare, but
Yeah,
yes, they
but
do exist. Yep.
I've talked to them, right? Okay, so given that, right, if we have evidence, and if I can provide you evidence, that by making 9 month, up to 9 month elective legal, right, it helps instances of that, right, and more mothers survive, more people who are giving birth are able to survive by doing that. Do you think that's a net good or a net bad?
Well, hold on. You'd have to compare that with the number of 9 month or 8 month or 7 month
Elective?
abortions.
Elective to the
not
elective ones. Yes,
for other
we'd have
reasons.
to we'd have to compare the ones that are
Yeah,
being
I
done
don't
by
think so.
medical necessity versus the ones being done electively. Yes, I would agree. We would have to compare that. Which one do you think happens more?
Look, I don't
Yes.
actually, I don't actually know. I know a lot of
Sure,
people
give
will
us your
say
intuition.
Let's use
my
common.
my intuition is that it's probably a lot closer than people think. But
No.
my guess is that it's probably like it probably is a majority medical reason, but I think it's probably like there's more non-medical reasons that people think. But again, if this was the case, I know you're going to say like, well, what if a doctor's like questioned or whatever? We should be questioning people on ethical questions afterwards. Sure, I think it would be pertinent to say, okay, like in your medical opinion, if the life of the mother is at risk, then you can do it. At least we have a conversation now, as compared to no justification necessary, no write-up necessary, not even a doctor's license is medical license is necessary. You can literally have some woman out of her fucking house do it for you
The
in the state of
problem,
Minnesota.
Sorry, is it that, or did they say nurse practitioners or this, that, and the other, or did they say somebody, just some rando off the street? Like, what's the difference here? Like, what did they say in the
I
law?
think
Hold on,
I think
hold on,
that like
before you go
they
down
made
that
it similar
road,
to how
the distraction.
who you can give what's the name of the person who like not a doctor but can help women give birth in their homes,
Midwife.
like
Midwife.
I think it's like similar to like a midwife where like you can
So
basically
midwives
find
have training and they have an expertise. It's not some random
they're not a
woman.
medical doctor though.
But okay, hold on. Let
Right, but
me
you're saying
this is a bit of a distraction. Don't let him distract you. Okay, lactoid, right? And I'm getting distracted too. Damn it. I had a whole line here. Okay, lactoid. Okay. You understand that every obstacle we put in this increases the risk that a doctor will decide in an edge case, in a coin flip case, where it's not super clear, he will err on the side of keeping himself out of legal trouble
It's
rather
possible.
than the life of the mother in a lot of cases.
Well, hold on. It's possible, and this is possible with every single ethical requirement that is enforced by law. By making it illegal for police officers to shoot and kill black men, we are creating a problem of, well, maybe the cop doesn't shoot a black man who then goes on to kill somebody else. And
That's
that could have been prevented.
That's why it's not illegal.
It's not illegal for a cop to shoot an unarmed black man without justification?
That's the key. Without justification, it is illegal. But with
Yes, you have to justify it. All we're saying is that
yeah,
doctors
the
should
cop
also
makes the
justify the
decision,
abortion.
and the doctor does.
The doctor should also have to justify it, just like
I
we expect
think
the cops to justify
risks
it.
of allowing no justification for the cop shooting the black
In
man
a third
far
trimester, yes,
outweigh
you should have to justify
You-
it.
than the other risk.
There are already
After
big like
21
hurdles
weeks.
to get a 9-month elective abortion. Like, people don't think about how ridiculous that is, to even if you wanted to. If I was 9 months pregnant right now and I was like, okay, I want to get an abortion. Okay, I'd have to go major doctor shopping to find somebody who's willing to do this. And then guess what?
They make it illegal.
Sorry, excuse me.
Why?
And then you get there and this doctor is willing to do this. All right, cool. There's a thing called the Hyde Amendment, and generally that means that in a lot of places, in a lot of circumstances, insurance cannot pay for any part of this. And, a 9-month abortion is major surgery that you're just having to pay for out of pocket instead of just giving birth and giving the baby up for adoption. Like, who in the world who doesn't medically need to be like, oh, well, I'm going to just shop for a doctor and then I'm going to pay, thousands and thousands of dollars instead of just giving birth to the baby. Like, the idea that this is going to happen more than people who have medical necessity is ridiculous.
I said it's probably mostly going to be medical necessity, just to be clear. I think that there's more people who do it for non-medical necessity than we might think. Because I mean, we look at the Guttmacher Institute, for
Right.
example, like the vast majority of the justification that women give for abortion, it's like a tiny percentile of like actual medical necessity or rape or anything like that. The vast
Right.
majority of the time, it's they don't want to give up their career or their education. That's the
So when
number
we're
one side
talking
of
about
reason.
first trimester abortion, people who do that for like, no crazy moral reason, that's way different, to just make a personal choice at like 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks than at 9 months. Okay? Like there's a big difference here. And it's not like you're 2 seconds away from just giving birth. It's not like you would have the same physical issues whether you gave birth or had the abortion when you have one at 9 weeks compared to 9 months. Like,
No,
so
I understand
when they
it's
pull
different.
people,
Yeah.
they put everybody together.
They do. I understand. I understand it's different, and I'm not saying that they're exactly the same. What I'm
I-
saying is that, like, if we all agree that, like, hey, once you start getting into 7th, 8th, 9th month, this should obviously be illegal. First of all, but second of all, even if you think that, oh no, it shouldn't be illegal because of XYZ reason, Trump is not being crazy by pointing out the fact that Tim Walz, Kamala
Crazy.
Harris's VP pick, signed the bill
Yeah,
allowing
that is
abortion
not
all the way
what
up
we're
until birth.
saying is crazy.
According
what we're saying
to
is
his
crazy was when he called
No,
after birth
it's not. Yes,
executions.
that was. I don't think that was that crazy. I think execution was
Pretty
obviously
crazy.
like very vitriolic. I don't think it was that crazy to
When
say,
you
based on again some of the concerns that
very
pro-life organizations
That's an
have.
accurate description.
But I want to
wait.
point out. But here's something crazy. Like according to the law in Minnesota, I've looked at it. I've thought about this. Technically, this is how the fucking clown world we live in. Technically, if you put a cheese grater during birth, it would be legal if the cheese grater was inside the cervix as opposed to outside the cervix. Like a couple inches is what changes it from murder to perfectly fine. I think
Right,
the
so they
fact that
have
the
to
law
draw
allows that
lines
is fucking
somewhere.
crazy.
Right, there's many situations in law that you could be like, oh, well, this is okay, but this isn't. Wow, it's like there are a lot of situations like this.
Wait,
The,
this is
the
rich.
line
cheese
should have
grater?
basis behind it.
Hold on, this is really rich. I
Cheese
think it's really
grater?
funny that
Passing
y'all.
through the vaginal canal is not some magical imbuing of
so-
moral subjective.
Well,
I
it's
think it's
a
hilarious that they're
difference
sitting here getting
between
mad about us using
birth and
extreme
before
examples
birth.
and extreme language when I've literally heard people
does
call
birth mean?
Trump Hitler. Like that is what I've
Exiting the
heard.
vaginal
people.
canal.
Wait, that's a
They
great
don't
way
say
to
that
bring it
because
back
it
to the
stands on
point.
We're
abortion
the
for the
ones
most
using
part. What are you
insane
talking about?
language when we say they're executing babies when they are executing babies. But hey, they
Sorry.
can call Trump Hitler, and that doesn't sound insane.
Wait, this is
Give
a
me a
great
break,
way
guys.
to bring it
Sorry,
back
they're
to the
comparing
point.
things that he said to things that Hitler
Let's give it
said.
to generic.
not-
Let's give it
you're
to.
not
Hold on.
saying
Let's
that
give it to
something is
generic. Let
happening.
generic.
Sure.
Let generic go. Go ahead, generic. You.
Okay, so like 2 or 3 minutes ago, I realized this was about stain-washing Trump and not abortion. I forgot for a second there. I'm sorry. I was gonna say, one, Gibbs, I saw that cat. It was adorable. I would love to see more of it. And I also want to hear Vigilante's example.
Thank you. Yeah, so I had my example forever ago of what. Sorry, my brain died after we started talking about abortion for fucking forever. So my example of something that the media stain-washed Trump on, he accused Kamala of not being born in America, and this was during the most recent debate. Yes, during the most recent debate, he accused Kamala of not being born in America, and the only thing that happened was
Can
the
you
media
give me the
fact checked
quote
him
on
on
that,
it.
please?
Yeah, I can find it. Hold on.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying I don't remember that.
Yeah, and that's because the media only fact checked him on it, and they never covered it. Other than that, and that's why I use this as an example.
I think the best example, and hold on, like for people who are like, why is Wick getting into his debates? Have you not watched my show before? Right? Like really? Have you never seen my debates? Okay. But I'm doing it because I want good content. And I think this is good content. But here's the biggest thing. I listened to an interview with Lex Friedman and Donald Trump, where Donald Trump said, plain as day, I lost by a whisker. When he was asked directly, did you lose the election in 2020, right? And he admitted, I lost by a whisker. That was his quote. When challenged upon that, right, at the debate, he walked it back and pretended he never said it at first, and then eventually said, well, if I said it, I was sarcastic. And then you had a legion of people trying to justify that, trying to spin that into something that it was other than what it clearly was. He lied. He straight up lied. You can say he either lied on the Lex Friedman interview or he lied at the debate, but he just, again, straight up lied to your face. And you have a cadre of individuals, Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, a ton of them, right? A ton of them who will just pretend what he said was true all along. This happens for Kamala too, before you get mad at me. This happens for Kamala too. Happens for Dems too. But it absolutely happens for Trump.
I don't know. I think it's more likely that I think it's more likely than not that he still believes that the election was stolen, just based on the private phone calls that we have of him talking with like subordinates and other people, where he's like, and people who are not even his subordinates, and all the information. Like, at no point does Trump ever like indicate that he actually doesn't believe the election was stolen.
Then he
So
belongs in
I
an
think
insane
it's-
asylum.
I think it's he says he doesn't think the election is stolen in like private
Yeah, he
conversation.
said that he lost. And he said that, here's the thing, there's a lot of circumstantial evidence that occurred at the time that proves that he absolutely, did know that the election was stolen.
No, I know he said, but like again, I think you can think the election was stolen and still like say, well, I'm not the president, I lost.
Sorry, wait, what? What's your? I'm sorry. What is the claim here? That he still thinks the election was stolen, or he still?
I think that he thinks the election is stolen. Yeah.
No, I do not think that he still thinks the election was stolen, considering people had been telling him this like again and again, and they'd been presenting him with evidence.
And what did he tell them?
Again and again. And what? Wait. So either all of them are lying. Either that, or Trump is literally like delusional. Because I mean, if all of these people on his side in his campaign were telling him, no, the election wasn't stolen. No, the election wasn't stolen. And then he said before that he's lost. Like, what else is there? Like, I mean,
there's some people saying it was stolen. There was people in his
Some?
campaign saying that it was stolen. There was people like John Eastman and Rudy Giuliani, who he
And
also
Trump?
held in close regard.
Yeah, his co-conspirators.
That were telling him they were telling him that it was stolen. All the information we have appears to indicate that he vigorously argued with the people that were telling him that it wasn't stolen, and he was agreeing with the people who were telling him it was stolen. I'm not convinced that he believes it was stolen or was not stolen. Like, that's the question. His opinion.
He went looking
They presented
for people.
him with evidence.
Well, yeah, there's a difference between being presented with evidence and that person finding that evidence credible. You guys haven't really presented too much evidence, but like you guys have made claims that I don't find credible. But that doesn't mean that I think that like you're lying or that I'm lying when I say I don't believe you.
There are certain claims we could make that you would think we were insane for making, correct? Like, if
there's
I
claims
said,
that you guys have made that I think you're insane for making,
including you, Katiusha. All women were secretly insectoid aliens, right? That women have been replaced overnight by an insectoid race who are now wearing their skin, right?
That's true.
I could claim that. You would rightly think that's crazy, would you not? You would
for the sake of the argument, I'll agree. Sure, yeah.
For the sake of the argument, okay. I don't know where we could go with this. You would have,
but it's your fault for bringing up a bad example.
Look, no, if some dude came up to you and started talking to you about how all the women were secret insectoid aliens, you would call them crazy. You would.
Okay.
Well,
sure.
what if you had good evidence? What if you had some convincing
You would
evidence?
too, Gibbs.
What if he had really good evidence?
No,
I mean,
you would call them crazy. Okay.
So just because this sounds
our
crazy,
point here, the reason
but I would not call them a liar, though. But I wouldn't call them a liar.
Maybe not, right? But we're not talking about honest washing. We're talking about sane washing. So when you have someone who's presented with evidence after evidence after evidence that something did not actually occur, right?
But
did
there is
not
evidence.
actually occur. And
Wait. Well, let's rewind. I already agreed. Did I just not get done saying like earlier, like the Fox News Dominion stuff, like that was an example, like that was the example. Sure.
But
arguably that you could argue that is like an example of like one media company.
So
do I think it's like the media generally? Absolutely
my
not.
question an hour ago,
says this as he legitimately believes it.
Right? To my question an hour ago. So the answer is yes to my question an hour ago. You would agree that if we change the prompt to are some media personalities with large followings sanewashing Trump, you would say yes.
Yeah, of course. Anybody would have to say yes. But I would say it's not most of the media, and I would say most of like the influencers that are supporting him are not sanewashing him. But of course, yes, you're going to find some people who are. But if that's the standard, that you can find a few crazies, yeah, then whatever.
But it's
Fair
not
enough.
I'm
just
sorry, but, like-
hold on. It's not just a few crazies. It's Tucker. It's some of the largest podcasters in the world, some of the largest influencers in the world, the largest news organizations in the world.
In comparison to the rest of the entire media landscape that we empirically know is overwhelmingly anti-Trump,
I don't
it's a
care
few people.
if there's 110 viewer Andy, right? Shows all saying Trump's Hitler. If you got one
There's a lot of them.
10 million viewer Andy guy saying no, Trump is Christ. He is the second coming of God, and he can do no wrong.
So
Who says that?
Who said that? Yeah, maybe I want to go
Being
follow that guy.
hyperbolic.
Hey, wait, as is your right to do, Wick.
So you understand how it works then?
wait a
Oh,
minute.
now he understands how it works.
I'd argue
So-
most influencers that are going to vote for Trump or whatnot do like sanewash Trump. I mean, just for example, both of you have been sanewashing Trump this entire time.
Yes.
That's because check this out. He's actually saying.
Cool. So
fuck
I'm
yes.
going to argue against that right now. If somebody's presented with evidence against something again and again and again and again, and like literally shown it, yet they still only believe those who are on their side
let's
and
do a
believe that
counterclaim.
every single person on the other side is literally just fake and what they're saying isn't true and they're against him to every single person, and the line is drawn straight down the middle. Either he's actually delusional, or everybody who likes him or who says that, he legitimately believes the election is stolen, who isn't crazy themselves, is sanewashing him.
I want to point out, like,
Hold on,
this
let's go
panel is
hold on.
actually, this
Let's
is a
go
good, like, homunculus of sort of what me and Gibbs are referring to. This is a panel that is technically 3 versus 2. Now it's 4 versus 2 for most of it. So most of the panel is, like, arguing against Trump. But the
Look,
two people
don't-
that are arguing
don't
that Trump's
blame
not
me that
crazy,
your boy
now the
Tyler
media
had to
is sanewashing.
Look,
No, the
hold on,
overall media here is absolutely not sanewashing
Don't
Trump.
be
Well,
mad that Tyler,
what's
who
really
was supposed
funny-
to be here, couldn't because God smote him. And
Well,
It wasn't
sent the
God. It
hurricane.
was. Oh, and who's president now when the hurricane hit? Explain that one. Go ahead.
Yeah,
That's
you
what I
said he was
thought.
gonna like shoot at the hurricane.
When you
Hey.
were the president, it was on his watch. Joe Biden allowed the hurricane to happen.
Here's the
difference.
with the
We're laughing, but here's
Shoulda
the
nuked
difference.
it.
When you say, "Hey, that's crazy," I say, "Yeah, I'm being hyperbolic." Of course, I don't mean that literally. When you ask Trump, "Hey, that's crazy," he's like, "No, this is actually happening. This is really true, and this is
that's
why, and this is
unfair.
why it's unfair
No,
of
no,
you
so
to say he's
that's
lying
unfair
or,
to do,
or
Nick,
wrong."
and
Right?
and you
These
know
are
it.
the difference here. $5 for
look,
Trump, and then we'll let you go, Gibbs. 5 Canadian dollars, unfortunately. Trump is clearly in mental decline. It's actually sad the GOP would let this abuse continue. Thank you for $5. Gibbs, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Hopefully I get through this without dying here. All right. So here's basically what's going down here. It is you're sitting here going, "Hey, Trump's crazy. Trump's crazy." I'm sitting here going, "Let's look at some evidence. What do we
No,
know
I'm
so
saying
far?"
he's saying crazy things.
Okay, sure. Same thing. Same, but different. Whatever.
No,
Here's where we
different.
go. Here's where we're going here with this, right? So we look at Trump and we go, "Hey, he's had more lawsuits against him than almost anybody in history. We've had 2 assassination attempts, right?" I would sit here and think, going, "Oh, look, hey, we have examples in Connecticut, like I said, where we know there was ballot stuffing, at least in one election, right? So, okay, cool.
But we know?
Hey,
I thought it was still
yeah,
in
we
court.
do.
You said that
Yeah, it's
earlier.
in
Did they
court, yeah.
decide the case in the
We know
last like
the
hour?
videos. I mean, yeah, it's getting broader and broader because of the expanse of how bad it is. Yeah, so yeah, we know that something happened there. I guess we don't know the exact
What?
specifics. You're right. Yeah, I mean, we know that something happened. So we're sitting here going, "Hey, like if I'm Trump and I'm sitting here living through these events, would you also probably be a little biased and go, 'Hey, I think they're out to get me. Maybe they rigged shit against me'?"
Would it make
The
him
answer is
crazy?
yes.
Maybe.
Yes. No, it wouldn't make you crazy.
$5
It
from
would.
another
It
new
would
account.
probably because it's facts.
$5 from another new account to say, talk about fake news. Vigilante caught lying about Trump questioning Kamala's citizenship.
I wasn't caught
It's
lying.
honestly,
I just corrected myself on when it happened because it happened back in August 2020. I posted a link to a news article about it in the group chat. I even said
Let
I
me
would
look.
post it in your Gen chat as well.
Okay,
Anyway, so
go ahead, Kyle. You
my question here is, right, so even if let me grant you, even if I grant you that your thing that's going on in Connecticut, like the real, election determinative state right there, that would completely, overturn all the other evidence he's presented with, and he's been presented with since the election happened, and we can just take this one thing over all of that, and all these people saying, this isn't true, no, this isn't true, Donald, this isn't true, Donald, and him being like, well, all y'all are lying, I'm gonna go with the one person or the two people or the couple people like, Clark, Giuliani, Eastman, who agree with me, and that would not be considered crazy or lying. Like, either delusional or lying. That's my thing here. Like, what else is there?
Okay. This is what Trump said from the link that I was given, and I'll let the audience decide. The president said, I just heard it today that she doesn't meet the requirements. I'll just try doing the Trump voice for you guys. I just heard today that she doesn't meet the requirements. And by the way, the lawyer that wrote that piece is very qualified, very talented lawyer. I have no idea if that's right. I would have assumed the Democrats would have checked that out before she got chosen to run for vice president. But that's a very serious. You're saying that. They're saying that she doesn't qualify because she wasn't born in this country. That's the reference. Correct? Okay. I'll let the audience decide whether or not.
What about?
Wait. Just to clarify, what the quote was, part of the quote was, "I have no idea if that's right. I would have assumed the Democrats would have checked that out before."
Okay, Gibbs,
Okay.
come on. If I said something like, I heard, right? I got a DM, right? Very trusted source. I really trust this source. That Gibbs eats poo-poo, okay? Gibbs eats poo-poo. I don't know if it's correct or not, but I just want my
believe that
audience
without
to know
even
that
a
there was
source.
a very,
Yeah,
very good
true.
source, very highly respected lawyer, right? Who just wrote today that Gibbs eats poo-poo, right? You would have think that they would have checked him out, whether he eats poo-poo or not, right? You understand how maybe I'm not exactly making the claim, but come on, man.
Oh, not exactly making the claim. I got it. So he didn't
Insinuate
make the
it.
claim.
I still would
Oh,
like
it's insinuated.
an explanation to how you can be, given evidence against something a billion times and then still only agree with, or still only listen to those who agree with you, and say that everybody who disagrees with you is some secret enemy, even if they were on your side 15 minutes ago. How is that not denying reality? How is that not either lying or delusion? Like, please tell me what else there is.
So both John Eastman is a very highly reputed attorney, just to be clear.
Who Trump was looking for.
Before all this happened, he clerked for the Supreme Court for Justice Thomas. He was a constitutional scholar, and he had a significant background. Rudy Giuliani, even if you don't like him,
did the three
he's also
people
an
who said
attorney.
the opposite have
It
no
was
credentials?
more than no. It was more. Hold on. There was more than just three people on both sides. There was a lot of people on both sides here. There was people defending the idea that it was stolen, and there was a lot of people that were saying it was not stolen. Not denying that there were groups of people telling Trump that it was not stolen. Obviously, we've all heard the Georgia phone call. We know there were people telling Trump that it was not stolen, and Trump was saying, "No, I think it was, and here's why I think it was. Here's the evidence, and that I think is more credible. You have to look into this. Here's what you're not doing. Here's what I need you to do." Stuff like that. Again, that was a private phone call. Everything in that phone call and all the information that we have indicates that Donald Trump believed it was stolen, and that he was listening to the people, the credentialed people who were telling him that it was stolen, as opposed to the credentialed people that were not. It would be like two doctors telling you, one doctor saying that you have cancer, the other doctor saying you don't, and then you go through the evidence yourself, and you're like,
it's
that
more
one
like there's
doctor
a
is
thousand
one
doctors.
doctor is going to get $1 million if you
a
go to
thousand
them
doctors
for
on both
cancer
sides.
treatment.
1,000 doctors on both sides.
I think it's pretty funny,
You
though.
can't deny there were a lot of people on both sides giving him different takes.
Well, I mean,
I will
they
deny
talk
that.
about,
That
they
was
talk about
not true.
evidence.
But they're fine people on both sides.
No, hold on. They talk about evidence, right? They
Large
talk about
majority
evidence.
of credentialed individuals were saying that he was wrong.
And a large group of
How
people
many
that close to
court
him were
cases
saying
did
that he
he
wasn't
lose?
wrong.
Eastman admitted that he would
hold
lie,
on.
or he would lose in the Supreme Court either 9-0 or 7-2 in the
That's
conservative
not
Supreme
the
Court.
same. That's not the same as saying that you're legally wrong, just to be clear.
It is.
Also,
Wait, Lactoid, you've said before that whatever the Supreme Court says is the
Yes.
law and should be obeyed.
Yes.
So if the Supreme Court says that you're 0-9 against you, then yes, what you are saying is illegal.
No, wait. No, you're misunderstanding. Okay, what I'm saying is that when the Supreme Court gives you an order, they are the body of government that is able to interpret the Constitution, and they need to be heeded, right? I 100% agree with that. And so, in the event that the court does rule 9-0 against Eastman's theory and against Donald Trump, if at that point, they refuse to follow the Supreme Court's order, abso-fucking-lutely, right? That's when you've lost me entirely. But there's a difference between saying I'm predicting that a jury might find against me, or that a judge might find against me,
Why
or that a
did he
judge might find
predict
against me.
there would be a
But-
9-0
but
against
I
him
have
if
a-
he
but I have a
didn't
good
think that what
faith.
he said was going to be
Because
considered
again,
bullshit.
no,
by the
because
Supreme Court
again,
of the
you
United
can think that you can think that you're legally right, but still make predictions. A big part of what I do, for example, is judging what a jury pool may or may not find. There are cases that it's absolutely bullshit, but because it's in a certain area, because of this jury pool in that particular area, the likelihood of the jury finding against this person is actually sort of higher. In fact, it might be higher than 50%, but it's at least high enough that we got to fucking pay money on this to get rid of it.
But the jurisdiction we're talking about
This
is
is
the
active.
whole of the United States.
I understand, but the Supreme Court are the decision maker, much like the jury is the decision maker in a circuit court case. And so, if you're saying, "Look, the Supreme Court might rule against me," we think that we have a basis here for this legal argument, but it's going to be, the current makeup of the Supreme Court, things that they've said, they
The
haven't ruled on it
conservative
directly.
The originalist 6-3
Yes,
conservative.
yes.
Is 6-3 not
yes.
enough?
No, well, hold on. When you're saying not enough, you're assuming that I'm saying that they should have ruled a particular way or not. I'm simply saying that look, this is one of the best Supreme Courts we've ever had, and I think that it is probably true that the Supreme Court would have ruled against John Eastman. Just to be absolutely clear on that. But there's a difference between saying I think the court's going to rule against me and saying we have no legal basis whatsoever to bring this claim. The two are not the same thing. You can bring claims that you think you can bring claims that you think you will lose if you have a
Spurious
good faith
claims.
legal basis to bring them.
Okay.
So
Oh, okay,
I
gang.
also want to add.
Gang, we've
Yeah.
gone, right? It's 8:00. I'm hungry. I'm hungered. I'm a hunger boy. Okay, gang. This has been a great show. I'm going to give each of these individuals an outro, right, where they, dear viewer, can give you the links to their channels, which are in my description, and please follow all of them. They are all gave up their time and they showed up, and I appreciate every single one, no matter how right or wrong they are. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming. Remember, we're doing phone banking. PV pays me, right? This is a paid announcement, whatever, right? You can do it. I'll provide links in the chat. Please do. It would be nice. Only if you want to, but yeah. And Monday, we're going to have Fairy Queen on. We're going to have Cham on. And next week, Thursday, maybe Wednesday, we're going to talk about the state of the race. And we might do a filibuster debate, too, because a lot of people in my Discord are super wrong about the filibuster.
Oh,
I'm
please,
one of them.
please bring me on for
I
that.
might. But anyway, closings. Let's go to Gibbs first, and then we'll end with Lactoid. So Gibbs, and then we'll just kind of, go ahead.
Awesome. Yeah, my name's Admiral Gibbs. I usually don't sound like the frogs in my throat are turning gay or whatever. I don't know. It's bad times over here. But yes, I'm Admiral Gibbs. I do politics and variety gaming. It's good times. It's wonderful times. The best times, let me tell you. Thanks for having me, Wick. It's been great. This has been a fun one.
So check him out, gang. Give him a follow. Thank you. Kariusha, go ahead.
Okay, so yep, hi. Was fun being on the panel with you guys. I think that we've proved, partially by virtue of this panel that, people do give Trump so much leeway to his sanity, but I digress. You can follow me on Twitter/x.com at Premier Katya. And yep, that's it.
Check her out, gang. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate you. GenericPlayz, please.
I really enjoyed my time here. I think while it may have been a little disorganized in some places, that we made a very good argument for both the media and alt media, as explained by both Gibbs and Lactoid, have a penchant for sanewashing Trump. I've had a lot more fun doing this than I thought I would. I would hope to come back. I don't have any socials because I don't have a presence anywhere. I'm probably going to change that after this.
Okay. No, thanks for being here, and I guess next time we have you on, you'll maybe have a thing to link to. Vigilante, go ahead.
Yeah, you guys can find me at the Vigilante TV on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. Yeah, I enjoyed this. I was a bit more active than I usually am. I hope you guys enjoyed the aggression.
Okay.
It was fun.
Give him a follow, gang. Check him out. I put his Twitter link in my bio. And last but certainly not least, I'll let Lactoid have the last word. Go ahead. Oh, just
Thank
before,
you.
are you streaming after this, Lactoid, or are you gonna call it?
I'm gonna have to head out.
Okay, fair
But
enough.
Gibbs, I think, is streaming.
Okay.
Oh, he's saying no.
No, I'll figure it out.
I'm
Go ahead,
dying.
Lactoid.
Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go over some stats that I started with. You know, in 2017, so basically after the first race, only 5% of news coverage of Donald Trump was positive. 62% was negative. Between Trump and Harris, 84% positive for Harris, 89% negative for Trump. 95% of Trump was negative in the days following his second assassination attempt. We see a consistent trend of highly vitriolic and negative media coverage of Donald Trump. A lot of people who don't engage in that, like both myself and Gibbs, have admitted on multiple occasions here things where we disagree with Trump or we think that Trump was wrong on. But really, unless you're vitriolically hating Trump, aka TDS, you are seen as backing him. You're seen as throwing cover for him for everything that he says, which is just not true. So I think that we did a good job here, just explaining empirically speaking, with examples, with every single example we went into, and also the empirical total percentages. No, the media overall is not sanewashing Donald Trump, and overall the media is highly against Donald Trump. If you like what I had to say, you can find me at Lactoid TV on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. Thanks.
Check him out, gang. Okay, we're gonna right into Tuna Chip. Make sure he lets know. You let him know that this is a hate raid. I love you all. Stay safe. Have fun. See you tomorrow. Oh, Monday. Sorry. Bye. Wave like you mean it. Like you mean it, Kariusha. Okay. All right. None of this. I know when. Okay.
I'm the best waiver.
You are the best waiver. Bye bye.